Chapter 151. Even Tsunade spends huge sums of money in scientific research, in medical and educational development, and even in the salaries and benefits of various institutions. Uchiha Koharu does not feel distressed either. With the development of the country of fire, the salary and welfare of various institutions and the national medical education will be supplemented by other benefits. Most of Konoha's income will soon be focused on scientific research. For the time being, the country's money is not used, but Konoha's money. Because of Tsunade's explanation, they know the importance of future technology. Look at the current train airships in the world of ninja and the road cars that are developing vigorously in the country of fire. Knowledge. The scientific research fully funded by Konoha will also be Konoha's long-term trump card. Now Uchiha Koharu has begun to cultivate financial talents in the village. Tsunade said that not only must he control Konoha's finances, but also cultivate talents and control the finances of the country of fire. The country's finances have gradually increased dramatically. Apart from normal expenditures, they will definitely become more prosperous. This money is likely to be Tsunade's small treasury, just like Konoha's finances. Tsunade said that in addition to the necessary money from Kabuto, the national treasury must be used to vigorously support the scientific research and education that Konoha completely controls. So in the ninja school, a new batch of ninjas graduated soon. Except for Naruto, all of them were rushed to high school by the two elders Uchiha Koharu and Midokado Hamura. 12-year-old kid, why come out as a ninja? Is Konoha lacking ninjas now? In any case, Konoha's family is a little credible. In order to better grasp the future, he must vigorously cultivate the new generation within Konoha. As for Naruto, his ability to learn has already made Tsunade desperate, and he thinks it's better to throw him to Jiraiya. Be a strong player, and in the future, I will return to Konoha to be a sixth generation with no real power. As for the ninjas, except for the nationwide recruitment accident, most of the idle ninjas of various races were forced by Tsunade to lead them to the troops. The establishment of Tsunade's Procuratorate, Public Security Bureau, Traffic Guard, and Urban Management directly and comprehensively controlled the military system of the Nation of Fire. All of these require Konoha's own family members to occupy most of the management. When a large number of people with dreams go to the country of fire, except for the core countries of the Transportation Alliance, Kirigakure and Tsunade, directly in the name of establishing diplomatic relations, sent a large number of students to study Konoha. This foreign policy directly caused many forces in the ninja world to collapse. They were on guard and stumbled, but in the end they failed to contain the wild behemoth of the land of fire. The attitude of Tsunade and Kirigakure has directly shaken many small countries, and they are all considering whether to ignore some of the threats behind them and hug the thighs of the country of fire. Here, Terumi Mei, as a member of the Transportation Alliance, naturally received a lot of information from Tsunade, so she will vigorously arrange for young children to study. Although I am afraid that there is no hope to surpass the country of fire, it must be faster than other countries, race against time to acquire more knowledge, and change the country of water to progress. Tsunade, after Luosha's death, Bakichio and his Tsunade high-level hurried to Lulan, invited back to Temari. 15-year-old Temari, in the grief of losing his father, assumed the responsibility of leading Tsunade. She is talented, whether it is cultivation or management. She is very talented. Under the impetus of Tsunade, Temari rises rapidly. In the backward Tsunade, it already occupies a high reputation. Coupled with her good relationship with the Big Four of the Transportation Alliance, she must be the position of the wind and shadow. After receiving some support from the Transportation League, after taking office, she has led Tsunade to quietly develop her name. After all, who is the name of the country of wind? This faint Kuin can't be a man. Luosha, who was an average person, could do a lot of trouble for him. After Luosha's death, the name of the Kingdom of Wind spurred the officials and dignitaries to start to eat Tsunade with integrity. After Temari took office, he immediately stopped his father's secret plan to make trouble with the country of fire. With the help of Tsunade's recruitment order, he led other forces in the country of wind to enter the country of fire. By the way, the talents in the village will be arranged to study in the country of fire. When Lulan Tenten and Mithrayasan are together, Tsunade-sama often comes on vacation. After many talks, these seniors have recently begun to shy away from Temari. It seems that the recruitment order of the Fire Country is to capture talents from all countries, but Temari understands that this is the way Tsunade Mithriya and other seniors have come up with a way to completely change the world of ninja. There are many talents in the ninja world. Even if the Fire Nation recruits talents from all sides, it is impossible to arrange all of them in the end. The final result is also the ultimate goal, which is to spread these people who have been baptized by the Fire Nation culture. To learn a talent, you must display it to your heart's content, not to mention that the entire ninja world is in a barren era of culture. The progress of the times and the conflict of ideas will eventually break out. At the prompt of Mithriya-Sara's predecessors, Temari organized a large number of talents to Konoha. In this way, these talents are still under her master after all, and when they return to Dacia for development, they will not be out of her control. Even she secretly helped other people in the Land of Wind who wanted to go to the Land of Fire, but were blocked by many factors, and she began to secretly dig into the corners of the big names and bureaucrats. At the same time, Temari's return brought the friendship of the Transport Alliance and received a lot of economic and technical support from the Transport Alliance. Begin to publicize the establishment of transportation in the Land of the Wind. Even if the daimyo and the bureaucrats target them, they will not be ignored. It really started to build traffic and develop commerce in all directions with Tsunade as the center. This also makes people near Tsunade look forward to it. What age is it? Who doesn't know the convenience brought by transportation? During the construction of the railway, light rail, and roads, Tsunade's projects were frequently maliciously damaged, and Tsunade also began a range of bandits. But the effect is not good. Although many thieves have been suppressed, the traffic construction is still destroyed. As a result, many rumors began to spread widely in the Kingdom of Wind. That is to prevent Tsunade Zhuang Yamato from collecting the hearts of the people, the daimyo and the bureaucrats secretly made trouble. Regardless of the interests of the people, Tsunade's project should be destroyed and the development of Tsunade should be prevented. As a result, people's grievances began to sound everywhere in the Kingdom of Wind. The daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind has been mediocre for many years, and there is no popular support. Coupled with the influence of the reform of the Country of Fire, people's awe of the daimyo has begun to diminish. Everywhere near Tsunade began to stand clearly. At this moment, the daimyo, who is far away in the capital of the country, looked confused. He didn't do anything. How could it be like this? Tsunade wants to build roads. Then he builds them. When the time comes, he will join the officials and the powerful to win the ready-made transportation by political means. Why do you destroy it? However, Chio and Baki and Tsunade looked at the plan in hand at the moment before the lords of the Wind Country, and some of the bureaucrats and dignitaries were still in cold sweat. Temari, the blonde girl in front of her, is no longer a cute thing, but a behemoth that destroys the world. Chapter 152. Compared to Danzo, the Land of Fire, he used his name to win the world. Temari can be described as very straightforward. With the funding of the Transportation Alliance, publicize and build transportation and commerce. And it was Temari who led the bandits and secret ninjas to do it in secretly destroying the road. Then he directly threw the pot to the daimyo, and the first step was to smear the daimyo. Anyway, there are ninjas and the railway roads that are still being built. The restoration is not too simple, and the damage is not damage at all. The second step of the plan is to take advantage of the popular grievances that have been let out, and then begin to gather the hearts of the local people and slowly push and empty the local bureaucrats. Tsunade's military power is here, and if you are not a die-hard daimyo, there will be no great resistance. Temari also deliberately bullied local officials and dignitaries, forcing them to make choices. Is Temari swollen? Yes, it is a little swollen. Because she is not swollen, why would anyone come to make trouble? So, as expected, the name of the country with the disadvantaged was happy, and the improper behavior of Xian Fengying was vilified, and the coalition officials and dignitaries began to denounce Tsunade. For a while, the smell of gunpowder from the Kingdom of Wind attracted the attention of Ninja World. But what is even more shocking is that Temari immediately ordered the ninjas to assemble, and the ninjas stationed in various places in the Kingdom of Wind returned to Tsunade. This time, Deming was scared silly. What's this for? Do you want to mobilize troops? So the daimyo also contacted the daimyo of other countries outside the country overnight. A few days later, when some small countries started to speak for the name of the country of wind, and some big countries began to speak in support, Tsunade directly took out the king bomb, an unwarranted king bomb. That is, Tsunade captured a group of road-destroying forces and found that they were powerful, and they were samurai and Naniwa who had been trained with the energy of the Grell Stone. However, they are now the direct force of the daimyo. At the same time, they learned that the daimyo discovered that former Wind Shadow Luosha often hunted treasures in the southern part of the Kingdom of Wind, so he began to fight secretly and guided some forces to target Luosha. And Hyde, who killed 4th Kazekage Luosha, also has the handwriting of the daimyo behind. Not only that, Temari also secretly revealed a sinister thing, that is, the many secret forces of the daimyo, not only monitoring many officials and dignitaries, but even inserting dark children into their forces. There was an uproar in the downwind country, and Temari also began to send official documents to the daimyo, asking him to give an explanation and hand over the Hyde group. This makes people even more jaw-dropping. Didn't expect Luo Sha, who killed 4th Kazekage, to be there at the moment? Are they not from the southern continent? Could it be the power in the hands of the daimyo? Or is the daimyo controlled by these people? However, at this moment, where did the daimyo respond? He immediately spoke to others, hoping to put aside this topic, and secretly urged Hyde and others to leave. After gathering troops in Temari before, the daimyo was very panicked. Just at this moment, his dark forces discovered Hyde and others, thinking that they all have the same enemy, so they secretly invited them to deal with Tsunade. At that time, they both lose and lose. Isn't it that he became a fisherman and instantly became a person of the same fame as Danzo? However, when Hyde was about to leave, he was spotted by Umbu of Tsunade and fought in the suburbs of the capital, making everyone know. Nonsense. Temari managed to secretly bring both of you together. How could you just let Hyde go like this? Although Tsunade's current strength is still unable to win Hyde, but a huge black pot, you are well known. As a result, after the matter spread to the ninja realm, all the ninja realms shut their mouths, and all the countries that had spoken for the name of the Wind Nation also withdrew their official speeches. After all things have been exposed, no matter what the facts are, the name of the Kingdom of Wind is no longer righteous. Instead, it was 5th Kazekage, and there was a righteous person who avenged his father. Although there was no subsequent conflict, the daimyo tried his best to put aside these black pots. Finally, after the daimyo gave Tsunade the documents for the construction of the Transportation and Economic Development Zone, 5th Kazekage expressed his belief that the daimyo was innocent. Of course, if other people don't believe it, it won't matter. Not only that, Temari also contacted the officials and dignitaries who had been wooed by his father earlier and started to make trouble. Temari gave a policy similar to that of officials in the Country of Fire taking control of the country, and most of the officials and dignitaries were shaken. After all, at the moment, the daimyo of the Kingdom of the Wind is still defending the supremacy of daimyo's power, and the calculation of Luosha offends Tsunade, not to mention, he secretly monitored and interspersed chess pieces in their influence. No one will be happy about this. The most important thing is that they have long envied the officials and dignitaries of the Dead and Fire Country. Tsunade, Chio and Baki and other high-level officials watched Temari's insidious tricks, making the daimyo unable to fight for an instant, and suddenly felt terrified. The big names and officials who suppressed them for so long, Tsunade, were so easily subverted by Temari. However, they were too late to sigh at this moment and immediately helped Temari to perfect the next thing. While focusing on completing the development of transportation and commerce, while gathering the hearts of the people and expanding talents everywhere, and encourage people with dreams to study in Konoha. At the suggestion of Temari, Chio and Baki already knew the purpose of Tsunade's recruitment order. The Land of Fire is a land of outstanding people, and there are so many people who go to Konoha to study abroad. It is impossible for the Land of Fire to have all the talents. When the explosion that spread for several hundred meters stopped, the thick gunpowder smoke gradually dispersed. So Susanoo was cancelled, and Itachi and Zaibuzan and others fell underground. Science Susanoo, who is more than 60 meters high, has abdomen, Obito under the orange mask, looking at the red-haired man with white eye-bands on the cliff in the distance. And the most direct prophet is the officials and the people. Tsunade is meticulous and makes people have no excuses for condemning them, let alone the righteous people to attack them. In the border of the country of grass, the boundless Rocky Mountain range, bursts of sound like thunder spread. Boom rumble. Most of these talents who have studied abroad have to return to the land of the wind to find the stage, and they will personally support Konoha to study abroad. Then they can better control these people. Looking at the blue-haired and golden-eyed Konan next to him, Obito knew that the trap they were exploded by this continuous roar just now came from Konan. Looking at Nagato with a white eye band, Obito was surprised that the opponent was not dead, but he was also a little disdainful. Without Rinnegan, what would Nagato dare to plot him? As a result, Tsunade expanded rapidly outside, and officials and dignitaries were bound inside. The daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind could only watch the situation develop step by step, completely powerless. In the countless continuous explosions, the flames soared into the sky and the gunpowder smoke filled the sky. Everyone understands that another big country has fallen. Oh no, it's reformed. In addition, compared to Tsunade's mass murder of thief Ko Li Wei in the past, Tsunade slaughtered chickens and scared monkeys and received a portion of it. Uzumaki. Nagato, a standing fourth form science Susanoo appears. After all, ninjas need to expand their recruits, and the traffic guards and local order maintenance troops also need people. Chapter 153. Seeing this scene, after coming out of Susanoo's protection, excellent employee Kisame unfolded a huge samahata and a few moments shot towards Nagato Konan. Whhhhhhhhhhhhh. Seeing Kisame approaching quickly, Nagato didn't move. Konan opened his hands and two large paper wheels appeared, spinning quickly, and threw them towards the approaching Kisame. Kisame broke the bandage in his right hand, revealing sharp spikes and a fierce samahata, facing the two buzzing spinning paper wheels thrown by Konan. Boom! With huge power, he flew directly and attacked. Kisame kept the single fingerprint of his left hand and continued to rush forward. He had always been wary of Konan's paper escape from exploding. Seeing that it didn't explode, he naturally saved it. Shoo-hoo! Konan's two paper wheels did not explode, but after being easily shot by Kisame, they did not disappear or land. But after being shot apart, they quickly spread out and formed a dozen rounds of paper shurikens. Under the control of Konan's chakra, they continued to rotate in all directions toward Kisame. Paper done. Paper spear. Seeing Kisame's back road was blocked by more than a dozen paper shurikens, Konan in front of Kisame, a long paper spear in his hand appeared and flew towards Kisame. Seeing this, Kisame, samahata with his right hand, walked out, and the Indian style held by his left hand was completed. Water style, water prison technique. An aqua-blue water prison appeared, but it was not to imprison the enemy, but to protect itself. Boom rumble. After dozens of paper shurikens approached Kisame, they exploded as expected. The samahata thrown by Kisame bit the flying paper spear with a big bite. Boom! After a soft sound, samahata bit the paper spear and fell to the ground. Then the paper spear did not explode, and all the chakra above was absorbed by samahata. Paper escape. Paper rain. Seeing that Kisame was completely defended against his own attack, Konan appeared with a pair of paper wings and flew into the air. For a moment, countless pieces of paper enveloped Kisame on the paper wings. Water style, water mackerel technique. Kisame not seal, a huge shark-like water bomb greeted him, and upon contact, it smashed Konan's attack. Boom bang bang. However, Konan continued to attack countless pieces of paper. After the previous paper was dissipated by water style, the subsequent paper exploded directly. The smoke and water mist spread for a while. Water style, water dragon bomb technique. At this moment, behind Kisame, with the decapitating knife on his back, No Cut sprinted, his hands were sealed, and a huge water dragon poured in. He can put on some airs. There is no need to be the first to jump out to be the vanguard, but he still has to show it. The physical activity of the masked man's enhanced strength technique he liked very much. To show it, maybe the masked man would tell him the follow-up practice. Earth style, Earth Dragon Ball Technique. I saw Nagato below Conan, with long red hair fluttering, his hands knotted, and the earth surging beside him. A 2-meter-large mud dragon had appeared, his mouth opened, and the white chakra bullets condensed in the dragon's mouth. Boom! The surrounding earth shook slightly, and white energy bombs spouted from the huge earth-shaped dragon head and went straight to the water dragon bomb. Boom! The huge white energy ball collided with the water dragon bomb, and a shock wave swept across. But it was not over. The water dragon bomb, which was not cut anymore, burst from the head and did not stop the attack. Nagato's Earth Dragon Bomb continued to rush towards the wide-eyed Water Dragon Bomb. As the person who launched the Water Dragon Bomb, it is natural to know how powerful the white energy bomb that can instantly break the Water Dragon Bomb is. Although Earth Style did restrain Water Style, it never expected him to be so powerless. Being done, Benji and Tang no. Just when Kisame was about to extend a helping hand, a beautiful young man with long hair fluttering beside him appeared, his hands chained slapped to the ground, and a huge ice wall appeared, blocking him and no longer in front of him. Boom! There was a violent roar, and the ice wall instantly filled with gunpowder, and the billowing smoke continued to impact backwards. Kisame, who was avoiding it, was dignified. He didn't expect that Nagato would still be so strong after losing Rinnegan. When the gunpowder smoke dissipated, the 100-meter-long ground was fragmented, covered with icicles, and a 100-meter-high scar on the ground appeared. At the end of the cracked earth, it was already scarred and no longer cut and white. With just one move, the two were seriously injured under the defense of the Water Dragon Bomb and the ice wall. The Black Hoe Thunder Tooth came from behind, looked at the red-haired man with white-eyed bands in the distance in horror, and quickly digged out of the soil without cutting and white. Swallowing secretly, is this the former leader of Akatsuki? You must know that in the past 2 years, they will follow the Masked Man to practice the physical activity technique. Although the training method Masked Man has not been comprehensive, their physical strength and chakra have increased a lot. Otherwise, how can they not win the Masked Man and follow him? Not for strength. I once thought that after increasing his strength, he and no Kaga level strength would be about the same if he didn't cut it anymore. I didn't expect that in front of a real powerhouse, he would be as easily broken as Kyoka Suigetsu. Checking briefly the state of not cutting Habai again, Black Hole Leah was astonished. If it were 2 years ago, I am afraid that he would be in distress if he did not cut Habai again. Seeing no more cut, and Bai Nung moved on his own, Black Hoe Thunder Tooth immediately pulled out 2 Shinobi Thunder Tooth and stared at the red-haired man in the distance. I saw that Nagato did not evade. His hands were put together, and a huge chakra emerged in his hands. Boom, boom, a fiery beam of fire erupted on his body, welcoming the wind style attacked by Nagato. Nagato uses wind style, gale palm, wind style, and lightning style, not to mention Nagato's vast chakra. In an instant, the wind and fire intertwined, and hundreds of meters of sparks splashed all around. But he didn't even have the ability to take away No and Bai, so he could only pray that they would ask for more blessings. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and stood in front of number 1 Hibai. Seeing the power of Gale Palm, Thunder Teeth was so frightened that he quickly avoided him. After all, as a lightning-style ninja, he still has speed. After leaving Nagato, the palm of the Gale Wind surged more than 10 meters in size. It collided with Thunder Fong's dragon-shaped lightning style, and there was no ripple. It instantly wiped out Thunder's lightning style. Even if he knew that if he didn't cut his strength, he would be as good as he would be against this strong man. But he also wanted to know what level of man he was. I saw Nagato pushing with both hands, and a violent shock wave erupted from his hands, rushing to the Black Hoe Thunder Fong even more devastatingly. The fire and wind collided and exploded instantly. A dazzling light flashed, and a strong and hot shock wave followed. Fire style, fighting out the arrow. Lightning style, tornado of Thunder Dragon. The Black Hoe Thundertooth raised 2 ninja knives and summoned a large number of thunder and lightning, and quickly rotated to form a dragon-shaped lightning and rushed towards Nagato. With the continuous clicking sound, after the gunpowder smoke passed, the surrounding jungle was interrupted by the turbulent wind style, burning in the same splashing flame. Chapter 154. Obito under the mask. frowning and looking at Nagato standing proudly in the distance, hesitated slightly. Nagato was still alive, which surprised him, and didn't understand how the two of them dared to come out and take the initiative to block him. To be honest, even if I know that Nagato is still alive, but without Rinnegan's Nagato, Obito has no interest at all. I originally thought that they both relied on Conan's secret arts and traps to ambush them. I didn't expect Nagato to be so strong. With the fire style that he used with all his strength, the opponent's wind style almost beats his fire style when the Black Hoe Thunder Fong lightning style weakened a bit. You know, fire style restrains wind style. Feeling the aura pressure swept across Nagato's body without concealment, a strong killing intent engulfed it. Obito is a little funny. Although he admits that Nagato is very strong at the moment, he has faced more strong men. At this moment, Nagato without Rinnegan is nothing. The two Kamui are gathered together. Obito is so confident. If he doesn't practice the physical activity technique, even if he can't win, no one can stop Uchiha Obito if he wants to leave. Of course, except Flying Thunder God technique. However, now that the physical activity technique has been enhanced, Obito's heart is no longer so afraid of the Flying Thunder God technique ninja next to Danzo. The big guys on both sides are about to start doing it, and the weak will not cut it very wisely and take the white away and go to the distance to watch the battle with the Black Hoe Thunder Teeth. Conan and Kisame continue to fight here. The strength of Kisame is better than that of the year. As long as he defends and dodges Conan's paper escape explosion, then Conan will be at a disadvantage. However, Conan also has her advantage. That is, she can fly. Just beware of Kisame's surprise attack, and then carry out endless bombing. Even if it can't cause effective damage to Kisame, it has successfully restrained him. Kisame naturally understood Conan's thoughts, and then looked at the battlefield next to him. Those new employees are too poor, and there is another second gangster who is still paddling the sea. His own boss has personally appeared on the scene, and Kisame, an excellent employee, naturally can't bear it on his face. Water style, water mackerel technique. I saw Kisame Jin, and a shark-shaped water bomb appeared, immediately wrapping him, facing Conan's paper escape that continued to overwhelm the sky. The shark water bomb took Kisame to dodge slippery left and right, all the way towards Nagato. Swish, after getting close to Nagato for a certain distance, Kisame fired the water mackerel that had wrapped him into Conan, who was chasing in midair. With Samahata's help, he ignored the rear, and the tiny shark stared at Nagato. His hands were imprinted. Water style, big shark bomb technique. Back when I used the big shark bullet technique twice, once I met the Might Guy of the physical technique, and once I met the Chun Baojun of the physical technique, Kisame all came home. This time, Nagato will not have any powerful physical technique, right? Earth style, Earth Stone Dragon. Seeing the technique used by Nagato Jin, Kisame breathed a sigh of relief, and the huge shark water bomb in his hand rushed towards the opponent. At Nagato, with the completion of the seal, the earth burst into pieces, and a few meters-old earthen rock dragon sprang out from the earth, tens of meters of body meandering towards Kisame's shark water bomb. Boom! The huge dancing earth dragon slammed into the smaller shark water bombs, immediately suppressing the charge of the shark water bombs, wrapped the water bombs back, and exploded a strong air current in the fierce collision. The huge shark water bombs, huge shark mouths, and dragon heads that were madly suppressed, fought against each other, and frantically absorbed the chakra of the earth rock dragon. Then in Kisame's grin, the weak shark water bomb, after absorbing the chakra of the earthen rock dragon, became visible to the naked eye, and its power became even stronger. After 2 breaths, the impact of the earth rock dragon was stabilized, and the reverse push began gradually. However, Nagato doesn't tell you about martial arts, and confronts you upright. I saw Nagato quickly seal and pat on the ground. Earth style, split the soil and turn your hands. Boom! In an instant, a huge crack erupted from Nagato and quickly rushed towards Kisame. Fire style, great fireball technique. This was not over yet. Nagato waved Jane with both hands and sprayed out a fireball several meters in size. Boom! Kisame had no choice but to detonate the shark bomb. After the earth-shaking roar, the shock wave swept across the 4 directions, and the smoke and water mist coexisted. Nagato's attack was blocked by violent blasting, and Kisame was also swept up to 100 meters by the powerful explosive air current. Swish swish. Conan's goal in the sky is very clear, so naturally he won't let him go. Seeing this, Kisame immediately raised Samahata and quickly merged with Samahata. Boom bang bang. After a roar, the gunpowder dissipated, and Kisame's Sharkman form emerged from the water cell that protected him, leaped right and left like lightning, and ran towards Nagato. Nagato, who was still walking towards the masked man, also stopped and looked at Kisame, who was coming towards him while dodged the attack of Conan. Water bombs, big bursts of water rushing waves. Kisame was also fierce and directly used the trick. After the seal was completed, a huge stream of water spouted from his mouth, immediately forming a water prison spreading hundreds of meters. Seeing that Conan has been cut off by the dungeon and Nagato is covered, Kisame swung his huge white tail and swam swiftly towards Nagato. When approaching Nagato several tens of meters, watching Nagato motionless and unwavering, Kisame was vigilant. Allowing himself to approach without using ninjutsu or avoiding the area of the water prison, he didn't think that Nagato was waiting to be captured. However, Kisame wasn't a counselor either. There was a vague burst of airflow on his body. He was in the strongest Sharkman form. He was very burly, and his muscles were visible. After practicing the physical activity technique Xiaocheng, he in the form of a Sharkman is confident that he can surpass Uchiha Ashina, who started the Jinwei mode at the beginning, and has the strength to challenge the Might Guy, so he is naturally not afraid to get close to a Nagato. Kisame was shocked, and suddenly tried his best to break away. Kisame didn't have time to dodge, so he blocked it with both hands subconsciously. Puff! Kisame was instantly suppressed by the King Kong seal. The water jail he sent out, without chakra, immediately collapsed. Seeing this, Nagato in the distance whispered softly, "Wow!" Only then did he discover that he couldn't get rid of it anymore. And at the same time, he felt the momentary weakness of his whole body, and the proud huge chakra inside his body was instantly suppressed by the golden energy chain and could not move. And the first golden energy chain that he had just evaded quickly turned back and penetrated him. Adamant sealing chains? No wonder. I saw that the huge golden energy chain held by his Julie, as if ignoring any of his power, touched his hands and pierced directly into his hands. What? The alarm bell in Kisame's heart, although he didn't know what kind of attack it was, or the strength of the golden energy chain, but the body limit subconsciously avoided it. Puff! Kisame roared, trying to break out, in an attempt to break free from the chains of golden energy. As he approached Nagato 10 meters away, Nagato was motionless, and a huge golden energy chain struck him like a lightning. However, when he turned to avoid the first chain, another faster golden chain pierced him. Chapter 155. At this moment Obito finally knew why Nagato dared to come to him, and Obito was also very vigilant. Seeing that Kisame was continuously suppressed by adamant sealing chains, Obito immediately threw 2 shurikens and rushed towards Nagato. Kamui, shuriken. I saw the 2 shurikens that came out of his hands, like a black hole, and the surrounding space was distorted. At this moment, Byakugan under the white eyes of Nagato had already opened, naturally aware of the unusualness of this shuriken, and immediately fled away. After avoiding the attack trajectory of Kemui's shuriken, Nagato confronted the oncoming masked male Yuin. Wind-style palm of gale. The wind beam in Nagato's hand surged more than 10 meters after he let go, rushing towards the masked man. Sieve then, as expected, the mask turned into a phantom, unable to attack. Boom rumble. And wind-style ninjutsu, who passed the masked man, shaved a 100-meter-long scar on the ground behind. Whhhhhhh. Nagato was more alert when he missed a hit, and 2 more golden energy chains erupted on his body, stabling towards the phantom like a meteor, but he still couldn't hit the masked man and pass through the phantom. Then Nagato slammed to one side. Even if the other party was a phantom, he had no intention of contacting him. Swish! After an instant, Nagato fired a diamond chain and aimed at the place where the masked man was about to land, to try if he could hit his real body. However, the masked man turned around quickly after Nagato did not attack his phantom, and a great fireball rushed to Nagato. Nagato frowned when he saw this, and instead of resisting the attack, he swiftly avoided it. Both Nagato and Konan knew that the purpose of the masked man at this moment was to save Kisame, who was tightly bound by adamantine sealing chains. So Konan approached from the air and threw the condensed paper spear at the masked man. And Nagato also contracted adamantine sealing chains in his hands and wanted to take Kisame back. It was Conan's paper spear that passed through the masked man's body, but he did not stop the opponent's actions. Hollow avoided Conan's attack, and Obito shot adamantine sealing chains that had been recovered by Nagato. A few tens of meters away, a space Uzumaki appeared in vain on the recovery road of adamantine sealing chains. Nagato couldn't react and bound the front end of the adamantine sealing chains of Kisame, and was immediately swallowed by Uzumaki in space, and the huge golden energy chain was immediately cut off by Uzumaki in space. Immediately, Space Uzumaki casually enveloped Kisame, connecting him to Space Uzumaki. WHHHHHH. Knowing that the other party had succeeded in saving people, Nagato was not angry, but for golden energy chains all stab at the masked man. When the masked man Hollow avoided adamantine sealing chains in place, Nagato had no other means of attack. Instead, he leaped hard and jumped to the side of Konan, who was leaping down in the sky. The paper of God technique. Konan swooped down, and in an instant countless papers spewed, spreading to the masked man who was restricted by the Nagato adamantine sealing chains and used Hollow. Swish swish. In an instant, Konan and Nagato, who was caught by Konan paper dive, immediately unfolded several scrolls, and countless papers spouted out all over the sky. Boom rumble. Surrounding the shadow of the male mask, the flames burst into the sky and roared continuously. Immediately, Konan concentrated on paper escape, bombing the masked male phantom and Nagato, with 6 huge golden energy chains exploding on his body. 2 of them exploded in the explosion of the Konan detonator and surrounded the masked male phantom. The other 4 adamantine sealing chains guard Uchiha Itachi from all directions. Seeing this, Uchiha Itachi and the others were taken aback. What does this abnormal behavior of Nagato and Konan mean? One continues to bomb the phantoms, the other to guard them? Could it be that Uchiha Obito's phantom has been found weak? Itachi thought that he had the ability to observe Obito secretly over the years, and he also thought about finding a way to crack Obito's phantom. But he still has nothing to gain. After all, Obito is very cautious. Concentrating his eyebrows in thought, Itachi still walked towards Nagato and the others. Fire style, Phoenix fire technique. Itachi approached instantly. Jane displayed fire style. Throwing the shuriken in his hand, it merged with the fire style erupting in his mouth, and immediately formed a group of more than 20 fires to surround Nagato Konan. Water style, water barrier. Wow, a water wall tens of meters long and more than 10 meters high immediately blocked the attack of Itachi. Seeing this, Itachi sighed helplessly, his hands sealed. Fire style, extinguish the fire. After the seal was completed, a violent beam of fire spewed from the mouth of Itachi, hitting the water wall, and immediately exploded the water vapor in the sky. Seeing Nagato's shots just a few times, Itachi knew that he had no chance of ninjutsu collision. Create boundless water vapor. Look for opportunities to approach Konan and use illusions to dispel the unknown attack on Obito by the 2. Wind style. Great breakthrough. However, Itachi had not had time to take the next step, and the violent wind style swept through the thick water vapor. Enveloping the sky with gunpowder smoke, countless flying sand, walking rocks and giant tree branches rushed along, and the ferret and the black hole Leah who approached the probe were all forced to retreat. Without using Susanoo and the 8-foot mirror, Itachi's defense is very low, and there is no good way to deal with these large-scale powerful attacks. At the same time, looking through the 360-degree Byakugan, who has no dead ends, and observing the masked man in Hollow, he is faintly looking forward to it. Although I don't know what Orochimaru would do to snuggle him down a few days ago, Orochimaru gave them the information about the weakness of the masked man, and he and Konan began to plan the masked man. Byakugan under his wide eyes stared at Uchiha Itachi, with 6 adamantine sealing chains on his body, all facing the direction of Itachi. Seeing the actions of Konan and Nagato, Obito guessed that Nagato Konan probably knew some information about his hollow. But only one step can be taken. If he defeats the masked man to get Mangekyo, then he transplants Mangekyo, and then gives Byakugan, who has been promoted by him, to Konan. Both of them will have the confidence to take Rinnegan. In fact, this is not to blame Orochimaru. After all, Black Zetsu told Orochimaru to trouble Obito and told this information. The two Kamui gathered together. It was true that he had been hollow for a long time, but in the end it had to be materialized. This scene was very strange for a time. Nagato was on guard against Itachi and others. Konan kept bombing with countless detonation symbols, and 7 or 8 minutes passed. After seeing Uchiha Itachi back, Nagato did not dare to let go of his vigilance, and used wind style to flatten the surrounding area, not giving Itachi any chance to use his skills. The masked man, Itachi and others, perhaps thought that Konan was supporting him in this battle, but in view of the masked man's tactics, he was the auxiliary position. At this moment, in Byakugan, with a few small white snakes in the distance watching the battle, and the faintly scattered crystal style, Nagato frowned and kept speculating about Orochimaru's intentions. But at this moment, Obito no longer has a calm look on his face, feeling the oppression of death again, cold sweat on his forehead. Knowing the weakness of the masked man hollow, Nagato did not immediately agree to Orochimaru's cooperation. After all, Orochimaru didn't even tell him what to do with him, so he didn't bother to agree. And Black Zetsu never asked Obito. After all, Obito couldn't say that this was the result of Black Zetsu's secret observations over the years. Konan Nagato also frowned, looking gloomy. Didn't Orochimaru say that Hollow's time is 5 or 6 minutes? At the moment, Obito in Hollow, his body is motionless in the Kamui space, his expression is serious, and his brain is thinking crazy. Konan's detonation charm. He can explode the physical activity technique, and Susanoo try to resist. But what about Nagato's adamantine sealing chains? Chapter 156. After several unsuccessful attempts to attack, Itachi stood on the edge of Nagato's attack and watched the development silently. After watching Konan's bombing for a few minutes, Obito still did nothing, and Itachi also knew that it seemed that Obito had indeed found a weakness. After thinking about it, Itachi still didn't try his best to save Obito. Not to mention using the biggest hole card. Just playing Susanoo with an 8-foot mirror does not necessarily force Nagato away. Now that his physical pain is faintly worsening, Itachi does not want to desperately increase the worsening of the pain. His life must be saved to see someone and promote that person's growth. Now Konoha is developing very fast, and the 5th generation project has been successfully reformed. In addition, he has learned some of Sasuke's current situation and knows that 5th generation values Sasuke very much. So Itachi feels a lot relaxed. Compared to the 3rd generation stocking, the 5th generation project arranged Uchiha Shina to teach Sasuke. Obviously, the 5th generation project has a much broader mind. It's just Uchiha Shina, being controlled by distinguished heavenly gods, is also very miserable. This distinguished heavenly gods in my hand. Do you want to relieve him of the illusion of distinguished heavenly gods in the future? Boom bang bang. Just when Konan controlled countless detonating charms to explode, the phantom where the masked man was located suddenly a blue light appeared. Swish, Nagato's hands were quick, and the 2 adamantine sealing chains that had been beside the phantom instantly stab at the masked man. It was Obito who appeared at an extremely fast speed and condensed Susanoo in an instant, but only a small amount of Susanoo was formed, which was directly pierced by adamantine sealing chains, and directly penetrated him in Obito's horrified gaze. His Kamui absorbed himself, and some time was delayed, so he needed to resist countless detonating talisman explosions and adamantine sealing chains. Susanoo can resist, but what about adamantine sealing chains? This is not even stressful for Nine Tails. At the beginning, he released Nine Tails, caused the Nine Tails incident, and finally Kushina was dying, adamantine sealing chains broke out, and even Nine Tails could not fight back. When this news came from White Zetsu, Obito was confused on the spot. Now that Nagato is at the peak of its strength, its adamantine sealing chains are not necessarily weaker than Kushina. Then, is your Susanoo stronger than Nine Tails? Finally, the 10-minute deadline for Hollow approached, and Obito's inspiration flashed, and he decided to bet a big one. While Susanoo was sculpting, Obito exploded with maximum pupil power and wanted to use Kamui to absorb his running. Regardless of whether it is a Kamui long-range space attack or a Kamui shuriken, it is impossible to deal with multiple adamantine sealing chains at once. Sure enough, as Obito was worried, Nagato was always aware of him, and adamantine sealing chains penetrated Susanoo directly into his body the moment he appeared to shape Susanoo. The moment it was pierced by adamantine sealing chains, Obito's whole body chakra was immediately suppressed, and chakra and power could no longer be used. After the success of Nagato's adamantine sealing chains, Konan immediately stopped the bombing of the detonating charms to avoid the destruction of Mangekyo, the time and space of the masked man. Itachi used distinguished heavenly gods. Obito, who was under control, exhausted his last strength and shouted to Itachi, who was 100 meters away. And Obito's drink directly surprised Nagato and Konan, and they stared at Itachi instantly. Konan swiftly turned to Nagato and spread out the huge paper wings to block Uchiha, Itachi's vision. Hurry up, Nagato. Don't let him get close. Konan shouted immediately, staring at Itachi. What is distinguished heavenly gods? After studying Mangekyo Sharingan for so long, they naturally discussed Mangekyo's various pupil techniques. After the fact that Uchiha Shina was controlled by Danzo distinguished heavenly gods to become a puppet, countless people were shocked. Even Uchiha Ashina, who is the most powerful in Mangekyo, can't resist. It can be seen that distinguished heavenly gods is not in vain. However, through the defensive method of the masked man against Danzo in the roundup of the Three Tails incident, he also knows that distinguished heavenly gods has a display range. Regardless of whether Itachi really has another distinguished heavenly gods Mangekyo, Konan must stand in front of Nagato. She doesn't want Nagato to become someone else's puppet. At this moment, the ferret in the distance flashed like a phantom. As soon as he saw it moving, Konan rushed to it. Today she is still convinced of Nagato's strength, but Nagato's speed is not fast. If it does not stop Itachi, Nagato will be overtaken by Itachi. Swish, Konan thought so, why not Nagato? Although he is still obsessed with Rinnegan, the person who has returned from the Ghost Gate has gradually changed in his heart. Rinnegan is just something he has worked hard to regain, making world peace just a dream. His life, in fact, should be on this man who has been taking care of him like an angel all his life. If she is no longer there, Nagato knows that all his other ideals will eventually collapse. An adamantine sealing chains quickly pulled back to Konan, and Nagato picked up the masked man who was completely bound by adamantine sealing chains and immediately backed away. When he saw that Obito was completely controlled and yelled that sentence with him, Itachi sighed inwardly, but after all, he still managed. The Mangekyo Sharingan in his eyes suddenly appeared, and Itachi rushed towards Nagato and Konan, who were fleeing with extremely fast body flicker technique. At the same time, Itachi Jin, a crow appeared on his shoulder, and one eye of that crow was the distinguished heavenly god's Mangekyo Sharingan with 4 windmills. After seeing the crow's eyes, Konan and Nagato knew that Uchiha Itachi really had distinguished heavenly gods, especially in Nagato Byakugan. When they saw the strong and special chakra, they had no doubt. He didn't fly with Konan, because that speed would definitely be close to Itachi, and he didn't use shadow clone and transformation technique to confuse his vision to escape. In the first few years of getting along, knowing Itachi was best at this aspect, it was a joke to try to avoid him in front of him. Boom, although the distance was farther, Itachi was extremely fast, and with the help of Mangekyo Sharingan's insight, he quickly chased Nagato and others. Itachi waved 3 times, besieged several adamantine sealing chains beside him, and was directly cut off. Watching the adamantine sealing chains cut off and the ferret rushing forward, Nagato was terrified. I saw a golden energy sword suddenly appeared in the red energy gourd. But this time it was not the left-hand Susanoo, but the red Susanoo on the right hand, holding a red energy gourd. The vast chakra on Nagato's body erupted again. 8 adamantine sealing chains, 1 tied to the masked man, and 1 tied to Konan to prevent her from doing stupid things. Swish, facing the adamantine sealing chains from all directions in Nagato, Itachi did not evade, but opened part of Susanoo. Fire style, great fireball technique. The remaining 6, all spread more than 200 meters long, attack Uchiha Itachi at the maximum distance to prevent him from approaching the distinguished heavenly gods. Although he knew Itachi's body flicker technique and the reaction well, Nagato still used this technique. Whhhhhhh. Then Nagato, who was retreating, had a gloomy face, as if he had noticed his thoughts early, and Itachi moved around to the left in advance. Nagato knows that Itachi doesn't have much chakra. As long as he consumes it, he can always get rid of Itachi. Fire Style didn't directly attack Itachi, but exploded among them. Nagato hoped this would hinder Itachi. Chapter 157. Water Style, Great Waterfall Technique. The remaining 2 adamantine sealing chains ran along with the masked man and Konan. Nagato Jin used the water style, and the 100 meters of water flooded the ferret. When the current appeared, Itachi instantly jumped onto the tall tree, jumped directly to the highest point of the current, and then stepped on the surface of the water to easily cross 100 meters of current. Earth-style detonation missile. Shuhu. Seeing that the water-style restriction failed, Nagato immediately sealed the seal, and countless stone bullets shot at Itachi like raindrops. Itachi turned on the red Susanoo again partially, but this time his left hand appeared, holding an 8-foot mirror against it. With the sound of bang bang, he completely resisted the overwhelming earth-style attack. Suddenly, Nagato gritted his teeth and stopped retreating. Chakra surged rapidly on his body. Earth-style wall. With a bang, an earth wall tens of meters wide stood up in front of Itachi in an instant. When Itachi hadn't approached the earth wall, Nagato, who blocked the view of Itachi with the earth wall, approached without retreating. Fire Style, Great Fireball Technique. Nagato, who was close to the earth wall, fired a fireball towards the earth wall instead. Boom, a violent blast sounded. Itachi was also very dumbfounded under the protection of the 8-foot mirror in Susanoo's left hand. Just as he was about to smash the earth wall, he sensed the violent chakra fluctuations and the fire-style explosion followed. However, he still wore an 8-foot mirror to go through the thick gunpowder smoke. In vain, the violent chakra reaction in the perception approached. Itachi immediately concentrated on preparing for an attack, and the distinguished heavenly gods in the eyes of the crow on his shoulder was just to scare Nagato. Itachi was reluctant to use it here. Coercion. A majestic voice sounded instantly. Itachi stared at Mangekyo as he was about to attack, when a violent mental attack erupted with the low voice of the opponent. Itachi's brain was suddenly blown up, and the powerful mental shock made him almost unconscious. And the crow with distinguished heavenly gods Mangekyo on Itachi's shoulders fainted directly in the mental storm and disappeared into white smoke. Swish, a golden chain of energy suddenly attacked, bypassing Itachi's 8-foot mirror and piercing Uchiha Itachi straight from behind. In Byakugan, seeing the crow on Itachi's shoulder disappeared, Nagato breathed a sigh of relief. Since meeting Hyuga Hayashi, Nagato went to Kirigakure to plan for a long time and captured the green Byakugan, plus another one from Hyuga Hayashi. After collecting a pair of Byakugan, Nagato also discovered that Byakugan could absorb his vitality, and he could perceive the discovery that Byakugan was enhanced. Until later, Byakugan advanced. He did not expect that although Byakugan did not change his appearance, he had the ability to use illusions, plus the ability to rebound and coerce. Especially the last obtained coercive ability, a kind of super mental power attack broke out. Some time ago, also used this technique, almost took Orochimaru. At the moment of crisis, Itachi woke up while biting his tongue and instantly moved away from Susanoo toward Nagato's position. Bang adamantine sealing chains stabbed Susanoo without Itachi and the 8-foot mirror. Nagato didn't care about Itachi's instant approach. After all, without distinguished heavenly gods, Nagato hardly feared Itachi. Itachi came suddenly, with blood oozing out of his eyes, and Susanoo quickly covered him again. The golden energy sword that could sever adamantine sealing chains appeared again, slashing towards Nagato. Nagato immediately took Konan to dodge. After all, it was an attack that even adamantine sealing chains could cut off. He didn't dare to be careless. However, when Itachi's sword was approaching the two of Nagato, it suddenly changed its direction 90 degrees in the middle. The golden energy sword also grew strangely and slashed towards the adamantine sealing chains that bound Obito. When Nagato saw Itachi's trick, it was too late to stop it. The golden energy sword was quickly cut off, and the adamantine sealing chains connected to the masked man were immediately cut off like tofu. The successful Itachi, in order to prevent Nagato from continuing to control the situation, the ten-fist sword in his hand slammed at Nagato again, forcing him to take Konan to dodge again. And Itachi also took this opportunity to be here in Obito. At this moment, the Susanoo on his body slowly disappeared. The ten-fist sword and the 8-foot mirror were gone, his eyes oozing blood. Against the scarlet Mangekyo, it was extremely evil. However, Itachi collapsed as a whole, with cold sweat on his forehead. His expression flashed with extreme fatigue, and he seemed to fall down at any time. Just now, Nagato's sudden mental power broke out, and Itachi was deeply injured. If it weren't for his own determination, and as Mangekyo Sharingan, his mental power was very large, otherwise he would really fall. Nagato landed, and the vast chakra exploded again, and 2 adamantine sealing chains shot at Itachi and the masked man. At the last moment, Obito, who broke away from adamantine sealing chains, exhausted the last bit of strength, pulled Itachi and disappeared into the space Uzumaki. Although Nagato also controlled adamantine sealing chains to protrude into space Uzumaki, they were immediately cut off by the closed space Uzumaki. Distinguished heavenly gods, and another divine weapon. Seeing that the other party had fled, Nagato muttered solemnly. Itachi's strength seemed to exceed expectations. It was a magical weapon for 1 offense and 1 defense, plus the distinguished heavenly god's Kabuto bottom. Fortunately, Itachi didn't use all his strength from the beginning. But why should such a strong person follow the masked man? Ten-fist sword. How could it be with Itachi? Orochimaru, who peeped through the red lotus telescope technique, muttered solemnly. Ten-fist sword? What is that? Uchiha letter, who also received the information, asked Black Zetsu who was on him. Although some power in his hand could defeat Nagato, he didn't want to use it on Nagato. Regarding the snipe and clam fight planned by Orochimaru this time, although they did not become fishermen, they also knew a lot of information. At least the ferret, it is better not to face it in the future. After all, there is an unstable person around him who also owns distinguished heavenly gods. Obito is actually very imaginary. He has Izanagi Kabuto bottom. It is hard to guarantee that Itachi has no other means. The most important thing is that Obito also sees clearly that a strong teammate like Itachi must have it, or he will be beaten constantly. Looking at the Itachi next to him at the moment, Obito's heart is even more tangled. Why is God so good to Uchiha Itachi? 2 god-tier devices, 1 offense and 1 defense. Unfortunately, in the end, Nagato's mental storm directly stunned the summoning crow who carried distinguished heavenly gods. Ten-fist sword, also known as the sealed sword of the Sake Kadato. It is said that the person who is stabbed will be permanently sealed in the world of drunken dreamlike illusion, something Orochimaru has been looking for. Unexpectedly, in such a short period of time, I discovered a lot of things that scared me, and I was fortunate that I took a gamble. Seeing Uchiha letter and others leave, Orochimaru also left with several subordinates. I thought that Nagato had adamantine sealing chains, which was his confidence. In the end, the mental power exploded, and even Itachi could hardly fight back. Obito was scared to think about it. Maybe think about where to make money, and quickly do some detonation talisman Konan's method against Uchiha Obito. When his hollow state was intensively bombed by Konan and unable to move, he finally planned it without using the secret technique Izanagi. After thinking about it for a moment, he still didn't attack Itachi because he didn't know the consequences. Who knew it was a lie? After getting Black Zetsu's answer, Uchiha Xian became even more frightened and finally slipped away with the spatio-temporal pupil technique when Black Zetsu reminded him. And at the moment in the Kamui space, looking at Kisame who collapsed and Uchiha Itachi who almost fainted, Obito was very gloomy. Instead, he called Itachi to use distinguished heavenly gods. First, he wanted to control Nagato, and second, he wanted to waste the distinguished heavenly gods on Itachi, which was good for him. This time Nagato failed. he should agree to some of his cooperation proposals. Duh. Chapter 158. In this meeting, tell me who you are doing so carelessly in the shinobi world. How did you reveal the information of the Shell organization? In a mysterious cube space, several people in black robes are having a meeting. The top leader of the Shell organization, headed by a black cloak, has a Roman numeral 4 tattooed under his left eye and a diamond-shaped special imprint on his chin. Arrive. Although it is called Seishin, it is actually Otsutsuki. The current Otsutsuki is very confused. He has concealed things for thousands of years. After Otsutsuki Kaguya was sealed, he thought that no one would know him anymore. Even the Shell organization he founded currently does not reveal his own information. How did this spread in the ninja world? Who is Shimura Danzo who revealed his information? If it hadn't been for some of the newly recruited Shell organizations outside to report this matter, he really hadn't noticed such a big problem. After being attacked by Otsutsuki Kaguya and dying, he was parasitic in Seishin's body. It's a pity that Seishin's body cannot carry his vast chakra, making him unable to reincarnate. After so many years of preparations, he is ready for the tool and waits for the moment when he reincarnates. Almost at the critical moment, why did such a thing happen? It didn't matter if the shell tissue was discovered, but his identity was discovered, and Otsutsuki was a little flustered. Over the years, he has been very cautious and hardly shows up in the world of shinobi. Regarding the situation in the shinobi world, he did not act rashly on the chakra left by Otsutsuki Kaguya. Without regaining his strength, Otsutsuki was very cautious and could not bear it. But now it's different. The Shell organization is exposed, and his own identity is also exposed. Moreover, Rinnegan has appeared in the ninja world again, and there are 2 other guys with space-time pupil skills. If it were his peak period, he didn't care about these things. Now that the fangs are not there, he has to obediently fall to the ground. And the few people in black robes below Otsutsuki's style, you look at me and I look at you. They are actually very embarrassed. Especially the information promoted outside is clearer than what they know themselves. A few of them glanced at the leader of Seishin a little bit, wondering if behind the shell tissue, is it really the Otsutsuki style that has lived for thousands of years? Amato Victor. The message circulating in the shinobi world is about 2 human beings making trouble. Don't you plan to explain? Seeing no one answered herself, Seishin frowned and asked Amato and Victor. Chief, we are studying this one, but we haven't finished it yet, let alone put it into use. But the leader, can you let me go to the ninja world? I also want to find those cyborgs and take their cyborgs. Technology, said Amato, with a hearty short hair and eyes. There was a glimmer of interest in his eyes. The middle-aged man is still conceiving and conquering scientific ninjas. In terms of human body modification, he only talked with Victor. It hasn't started yet, let alone man-made. People, I want to see too. Victor, an old man with a black blindfold on his right eye, echoed with the earned sound. The eyes were fixed on a few people's Seishin, and a trace of confusion flashed in his eyes. The expressions and reactions of these people, obviously they don't know about it, let alone which personnel from the foreign front are doing the trouble. But there are only a few outside personnel, and no one seems to be suspicious. If it wasn't for Amato and Victor to engage in trouble behind their backs, who was it? Is it possible that when the person I received has forgotten now? If this is the case, then you too should go to the ninja world to see what is going on. Remember not to reveal your identity or organization information. Also, help me investigate the Shimura Danzo's information. The clearer the better. After a long time, Otsutsuki finished speaking and disappeared in this space. Then a few insiders of the Shell organization, you look at me and I look at you, and left in confusion. But the eyes under Amato's eyes flashed a little. If the organization behind it is really as rumors outside, it may be very interesting. He couldn't wait to investigate Shimura Danzo to see if there was anything interesting. In a thriving Konoha business district, a teenager with blonde hair and fox whiskers, with a green-eyed girl with a black hardy ponytail, strolls in a crowded shopping mall. Konoha's largest commercial center, several large glass commercial buildings are connected together. On the sky glass bridge connected to each other, Naruto enthusiastically takes Shizuka to play. This is a student of Madame. Naruto is extremely enthusiastic. Yes, after Pervy Sage came back yesterday, he officially became a student of Pervy Sage under the introduction of Tsunade's sister. Although his father is also a student of Pervy Sage, his seniority seems a bit messy, but Naruto doesn't care. As for Shizuka, it was the first time she left Fuzi village and came to the most prosperous Konoha, dazzled by Konoha for a while. After Naruto came out, Shizuka immediately let go of Tsundere's temperament, chewing happily with ice cream in his left hand and barbecue skewers in his right hand. Shell tissue, Jiraiya murmured across Chiyu's table. So she became the little secretary next to Tsunade, and Shizune was rushed to the nearby hospital. However, compared to other people in Konoha High School, these raw Konoha children have to make up classes in addition to the daily high school subjects. Udatane Koharu and Minato Hamura specially opened them for them. The sons and daughters have a long relationship and are swayed by the general situation, and I don't know if Hinata can come out on his own. Hinata saw this scene from a distance. A bit of loneliness flashed in his eyes, and then turned around one step at a time and went to the nearby school. Naruto will follow Jiraiya to travel and practice, but there are a few exceptions. There is also little Sakura. Tsunade deliberately cultivated. Little Sakura's super learning ability exploded, and she is caught up with Shizune in handling documents. Shizune is Konoha with the strongest medical knowledge besides Tsunade. Several elders and high levels had let Tsunade release Shizune a long time ago, but Tsunade was busy at the time and dragged Shizune to help her with the files. Akatsuki organizes the remnant party. Danzo takes care of it himself, like Hyde, ninja villages, shell organizations, etc. Jiraiya should take the lead. And this scene was seen by a deep blue Byakugan girl from far away. Shikamaru's top-notch wage earners are now his father's colleague, one of the clerks in Hokage's office. And she discovered that the silly boy next to him turned out to be a super local tyrant. This time Tsunade summoned him back and brought Naruto just to drop in. After going to Mount Mayaboku and finding that Toad Sage was still asleep, Jiraiya had to step into the Jonin world and began to explore the secrets of the ninja world, such as the Shell organization. However, the current Naruto still wants to compete with Sasuke for Sakura, creating evil. Chiyu muttered softly when he saw this scene in the tall lounge next to the commercial building. Now Naruto and their ninja school graduates have graduated, but there is no Chunin exam in the original book, and they are all rushed to high school by Tsunade. Chapter 159. In the evening, Chiyu and Jiraiya, following Naruto and Shizuka, took a walk on the Hokage rock circle. Tsunade, I won't stay. I decided to go to Ninja World with Jiraiya and go around. In my whole life, there are too few places to go. I hope to see more scenery. Speaking of scented leaves with short orange hair and green eyes. After all, Fuzi village is just a small village. There is nothing busy. This time coming to Konoha, I am going to play more. But after seeing Naruto, she changed her mind. Although Naruto is a little bit naive, she is very pleased with her innocent heart. What's more, she is the son of 4th Hokage, with the blood of Uzumaki, plus the identity of Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, a proper beloved son-in-law. They Fuzi village likes to catch powerful men back to get married. What's more, she and Jiraiya had an agreement back then that the disciples between them will surely try it out on the condition of getting married. What else are you trying now? Wouldn't it be nice to lie to this silly boy directly to Shizuka? Jiraiya will take Naruto to travel and learn to cultivate his power to control Nine-Tails. It just so happened that she could follow with Shizuka, so that the two little ones grew up together. That depends on Jiraiya's ability to protect you. After all, this journey is very dangerous. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya slantingly and teasingly. More than a year ago, Tsunade quietly stuffed a medicinal solution developed by a large amount of Greer energy from bay leaves, which not only strengthens some physical fitness, but also has the effect of preventing aging and rebuilding youth. Xiangya is less than 40 years old, and after using it, it is so tender with an 18-year-old girl. Unexpectedly, Jiraiya was also used. Although Jiraiya is not very old, he is still in his 50s. The effect of this use is quite good, returning to his middle-aged appearance. After having a daughter-in-law, she also knows to pay attention to her image. She has a tall figure and a lot of decent, but she looks like a person. What are you talking about? With me, Jiraiya, you can go in this world. Jiraiya heard the words and muttered immediately. Although he refused to let Tsunade let him transplant first-generation cells, he still used the energy of Greer and the bay leaf. Not only did his body regain his youth, but his physical strength also increased. With the aid of Greer's energy, he finally completed the perfect sage mode. Xiangya's own strength is not bad. They met when they were young, and they could draw a tie without using his tricks. Although Xiangya hasn't spied sage mode yet, with the help of Greer's energy, she is no less powerful than a village. The two of them didn't dare to say that they were alone in Ninja World, but if they wanted to leave, it really wasn't possible that anyone could stop them. What's more, is Mount Mayaboku's reverse summoning technique joking. After a supper, Chiyu and his wife were outside Konoha. In the moonlight, they sent away the handsome Jiraiya and others. You said, that big toad doesn't want to wake up. Is it unwilling to tell us information? Danzo's figure emerged from the underground and looked at Jiraiya and others in the disappearing moonlight. Chiyu and Tsunade said. After discovering the Kaguya ruins and shell tissue, Danzo Tsunade talked several times in secret. Hearing Tsunade said that there are immortals who have lived for at least several thousand years in the Holy Land, and they should know some information. Tsunade told Danzo what Katsuyu Fairy knows. As for the big toad sage, who worked with Sage of Six Paths, I hope Jiraiya will ask. Unfortunately, for more than a year, the big toad has never woken up. Danzo is very suspicious. Even for thousands of years, the big toad is very old, but at any rate it is also an immortal. It can predict the future of the toad. It will not lose the chain like this, right? If they don't want to tell humans, what is their purpose? Whatever he does, love to say nothing. I don't believe we can't find the truth about all of this. Tsunade said disdainfully. Danzo nodded with satisfaction when he heard Tsunade's Haki's answer. As expected, he was the one who wanted to become the Lord of the World, Haki. Tamari has stabilized the situation. Should I secretly help her to make the name of the Wind Kingdom disappear? Danzo asked Fiery Eyes. As long as Tsunade becomes the first bird and begins to cut his name, the world will be more chaotic, and they will have the opportunity to completely put the name system to death in the long river of history. You look up to Tsunade's aura. The name of the Kingdom of Wind is really dying, and those old people will only immediately establish a new name. With that leisurely thinking about this, it is better to think about how we can justly eliminate the daimyo system. With Konoha's strength and prestige today, I don't mind being a bird. Tsunade continued Haki's words. In the past, the daimyo was threatened to win the world, so as not to give the full ninja world a handle and to avoid internal riots in the Land of Fire. Now that her reforms are successful, it doesn't matter whether she has a big name or not. Even if they eliminate the daimyo system, there will be no danger. Then I will investigate the situation first, and then we will plan together. Danzo smiled so that his mouth was crooked and immediately used mayfly technique to leave. Since Tsunade didn't care, he didn't care about Danzo even more. As long as you collect a little information, estimate the follow-up impact of the incident, and take some precautions, there is a lot to be done. Tsunade can watch the daimyo dangling aside, but Danzo can't look at it, even a puppet. Woo-wah! Tsunade yawned, then said, let's advance the plan, and I will play it this time. Is it necessary? I used to take a trip and get it done easily. How well I stay at home. It doesn't take long for a stable day. It doesn't matter. I just want to see that magical place. Well, wait until I finish today's work. After Chiyu finished speaking, he disappeared with a swish. 1 minute later, Chiyu appeared again. Kakashi is getting stronger and stronger. His own reaction ability has surpassed that of Sharingan, and his insight ability has also caught up with him who had Sharingan. Especially the lightning-style chakra mode of Purple Thunder. Although it is not perfect yet, its power is close to me, and the speed is even faster. Now, even if you can't beat Reikage AI of lightning-style chakra mode, I'm afraid it won't be let down. Chiyu told Tsunade about just 1 minute of work. In the past 2 years, he has launched various sneak attacks on Kakashi from time to time, and he has forced Kakashi into dark circles under his eyes. But the effect is remarkable, and now Kakashi has become Konoha's combat power. With the exception of Chiyu and his wife, Danzo and Jiraiya, Kakashi has become an existence that slays anyone. Of course, his good friends can't open 8 inner gates. Chiyu worked hard to explore the lightning-style chakra mode, but learned it from Kakashi. The genius is unreasonable. As long as he turns on the switch, there are many benefits. Now that Chiyu faces Kakashi's lightning-style chakra mode and the weakly active technique in that second, it is not enough to use the weakly active technique to play against him. He has to turn on the ultimate focus state and use strange powers. Apart from fourth Raikage's complete lightning-style chakra mode, there is still a full state, and a strong-willed man. Kakashi may not be enough. Tsunade shook his head and said, playing lightning-style, Konoha is really bad. Cloud Shinobi Village is a lot. Even if Kakashi has one more weekly activation technique, I'm afraid it's not enough. However, it is a pity that after so long, Kakashi still hasn't touched the threshold of Xianshu. You can only wait for him to fuse more white Zetsu cells before sending it to Wetbone Forest for a try. Chapter 160. In the northern part of the Country of Fire, somewhere in the Wild Mountains, Tsunade was lazily watching the moon and drinking by a certain waterfall. Swish, get it done. Chiyu appeared using Flying Thunder God technique and gestured to Tsunade. Then let's go over there and take a good look at the novel world. Tsunade stretched, got up and jumped on Chiyu's back, and with a swish, the two disappeared. When they reappeared, the two went into an underground cave and looked at the green light in front of them, and the green and secluded underground lake water in the cave was set off. Chiyu and Tsunade were amazed. Although it has been a while since when Naoxiang discovered this place, Kabuto and Naniu also sneaked into the moon from here once through the information given by Tsunade. I have seen the photos many times, but the first time I came here, it was inevitably shocking. That's right. Here is the underground lake of the time and space passage of Ninja World leading to the inner world of the moon, and it is connected to an underground lake somewhere inside the moon that is separated by hundreds of thousands of miles. I really don't understand the brain of the moon forbearance. Even if the war between the branch house and the clan is fierce, it is clear that when the branch house uses Tensigen to destroy the clan, they will have at least a few thousand soldiers. Not to mention holding the giant Tensigen in hand. They have so many intelligent puppets. At least they are also in the world in the ninja world. Tsunade teased slightly that he really didn't understand what the descendants of Otsutsuki Himura, the moon, were thinking. Either wait for Tensigen or a tribe who can completely manipulate the giant Tensigen to appear, or maybe it has been a blow to the ninja world hundreds of years ago. Chiyu replied, just like Otsutsuki, this group of people in the moon, not to mention the strength of the ninja world, but they have to comfortably walk sideways in the ninja world. It is really not a problem. I really don't understand why these people are so Voldemort. One of them waited for their strength to recover, and waited until the next Son of Destiny appeared, and then faced two Sons of Destiny. Lunar Forbearance is even more awesome, and when the tribe has died, there is only one person left. You know, in the world inside the moon, the biggest monument city of lunar forbearance, there are several hills, tens of thousands of buildings, and hundreds of thousands of people live properly. In addition, there are some small towns near the largest ancient city. It is conceivable how capable Otsutsuki Himura is, and how many of his descendants will develop a population. But now, there is only one Otsutsuki left, who is still born blind. Fortunately, his physique is strong enough, and he has returned to his ancestors. At least Otsutsuki Urashiki must be called your lord. Even in the battle, he just seals the Shurin, saying that Otsutsuki will not kill Otsutsuki. Without eyes, he can be recognized by Otsutsuki Urashi by his physique. How can Tsunade not keep an eye on his blood? However, the Katsu fairy claimed that he didn't know about it. I don't know if it was the nine-tailed beast or Mount Myaboku again. Tsunade murmured. Like Chiyu, she agreed that after the branch house of the moon shinobi had killed the clan, she came to the shinobi world to find the Hyuga clan, and even started to dig the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. After all, the caged bird of the Hyuga clan protecting Byakugan has only appeared for hundreds of years, which coincides with the time when the moon Otsutsuki branch house destroyed the clan. And from Chiyu's memory, in the future, Otsutsuki will come down to Ninja to look for Hyuga Hayashi to talk, and Hayashi will directly choose to do it after hearing the Sharons chanting for a long time. In addition, Kakashi asked Raikage to stop bombing the moon and said that Naruto, Hinata, and others might be on the moon. Obviously, the patriarch Hyuga Hayashi knew something. Maybe it was Mount Myaboku who notified the Nine-Tails beast to stop Lunar Ninja? They have not dared to come down to the ninja world for hundreds of years. What else can there be besides the nuclear threat of the Nine-Tails beast? Chiyu answered without hesitation. In the branch house of Moon Ninja, I saw that the ninja world had been fighting for years, thinking that the ninja world had fallen, and the world created by Sage of Six Paths had failed and would destroy the world. This may have touched Mount Miyaboku's inverse scales. If you destroy humans, people may not care about you. How is it possible that you want to destroy the ninja world? The nine-tailed beasts, before the big pillars caught them, only knew that the poor one-tailed Shoha was sealed in the human body, and the other-tailed beasts seemed to be wild. Although the nine-tailed beasts are not compatible with each other, they are all separated, but they were created by Sage of Six Paths to guard the ninja world. Moon Ninja wants to destroy the ninja world, and it is likely that they will use their hands. Only their nine-tails beasts can keep Lunar Ninja from coming down to the ninja world for hundreds of years. After all, Indra Ashura cannot always guard the ninja world and even fight inwardly. The couple ranted casually without discussing the matter too much, and then entered the lake. After the two left, the two rock shinobi came to the underground lake. Their eyes were a little numb and dull. After taking the photo with the camera, they summoned the summoning beast and took the camera away. Then the two plunged into the green crystal underground lake. Master Tsuchikage, confidential report. With his IQ, Temari, who is only 15 years old, may be able to use him as a monkey. After they used the summoning beast to send gray messages, they went to explore the lake. Now 2 hours have passed, and they still haven't used the summoning beast to contact them. There is a high probability of accidents, the delicate woman said, and gave the picture of the summoning beast to Onogi. So, Baitu, please let me take the team to investigate, Master Tsuchikage. Although Hei-2's brain is not flexible enough, it is much better than Deidara. In addition to having been in Lulan for so long, not to mention the skyrocketing talent for business, at least he has a good relationship with the leaders of the Transportation League. Go. Everything is about life-saving, and don't always take risks with your real body. Oyemu said. He has tried desperately to train Deidara in the past 2 years, but Deidara, the baby boy, apart from becoming stronger and a little more obedient and sensible, his brain is still not good, and Tsuchikage can't be considered. Even if it is fake, everything that Danzo makes must be thought about 200%. At midnight, at Awagakure Inoki's house, an Umbu ninja came to report. Come in and say. The older Oyemu did not sleep at this time, and staying up all night became the norm during this time. After hearing the words, Oyemu looked at it for a long time, floating in the air, floating left and right, thinking for a while. I specifically mentioned, after all, what is Shadow Clone used for? Many ninjas died. They were overconfident, took their real bodies wherever they went, and then disappeared inexplicably. Master Tsuchikage, we arranged a team to explore the news, a group of ninjas who specialize in searching for shell tissue. Although no shell tissue was found, they found a strange glowing underground lake. Baitu is currently Awagakure's strongest female youth generation, and he is ready to let Baitu follow the black soil, and he is ready to succeed. The turbulence of the country of wind, the weird calm of the country of fire, and Danzo's troubles again, also involved a mythical character. Onogi did not dare to think that it was fake like others. Hearing that, the ninja outside the room opened the window and came in. She was a beautiful woman. Chapter 161. Watching Baitu leave, Oyemu looked at the moon in the sky and sighed heavily. Now that the situation in the ninja world is weird and unpredictable, with the sudden rise of the Transportation Alliance, Konoha Village once again oppresses the entire ninja world. The contradiction between the daimyo and the ninja village is pierced by Danzo, and the forces outside the ninja world and characters from ancient legends appear, making Ono Muko incomparable. At this moment, he knew that old people like them could no longer maintain the current status quo. All the behind-the-scenes methods have been used over the years, all of which have been blocked by Danzo and Tsunade, and Anoki felt very frustrated. Today, Tsunagakure Temari's actions seem to be supported by the Transportation Alliance on the surface, but Anoki knows that it is actually supported by Tsunade, and behind this, it must be promoted by the Konoha warrior. Rasha died so precisely at the right time. Maybe Danzo was behind it. It's a pity that by analyzing the mode of the change in the country of wind, he reminds people of the change in the country of fire, so he secretly uses rumors to pour dirty water on Danzo's head. But there is no good effect. The rumors are like a needle in the sea, and there is no wave of ripples. Inoki knew that it wasn't that countries didn't believe the rumors he made, or that it was Danzo. As soon as the country of wind changed, the beneficiaries except for the name. The whole country is the beneficiary. They don't make trouble. Basically, no one will catch mice. And other forces, such as Ninja Village, bureaucrats, and dignitaries, hope this kind of trouble will continue, so they can follow the general trend of the ninja world. The big names of various countries are quieter. They want to make trouble, but what if Danzo's attention is drawn? They knew more or less that before Luosha died, he was the only one who reached out and entered Konoha village to make trouble. After Luosha's death, the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind tried to cannibalize Tsunade while communicating with them secretly to resist the Kingdom of Fire together. Okay, now they are both finished playing. Everyone is smart, as if seeing Danzo's image covering the sky, showing them a cruel smile. Everyone wants to keep a low profile and behave with their tails in between, hoping not to be targeted by Danzo. Even the Kingdom of Wind is over in an instant. No one dares to think that he can resist Danzo. Everyone prayed. Hope that the Shell organization is real. Hope that the Shell organization will be 10 times stronger so that you can restrain Konoha's fierce tiger. However, Inoki is an exception. Although the changes in the Kingdom of Wind caused him to change a lot of plans, he secretly began to get his son Huang too, preparing to bring his granddaughter Hei-Tu to contact the officials and dignitaries of the Tuji Kingdom. After all, the country of fire and the country of wind have changed, and the general trend of this world will inevitably change, just like those two appeared decades ago. However, he has stepped up his efforts against Konoha. It seems contradictory, but it is necessary. Shinobu has been independent for many years, and even the daimyo is not a bird, and he never thought of surrendering to the daimyo for the unification of the country. The country of fire has emerged as a new force, and has a tendency to dominate the world. How can Inoki bear it? What's more, the original Konoha has left trauma to him even now, even though that Shura has died a long time ago. Continue to target Konoha, hoping that they will be broken and do not have the strength to dominate the world. Secondly, by disrupting the world, Iwagakure can rely on geographical advantages to grow stronger in troubled waters. My previous wrong policy made Iwagakure too weak. I want to catch up with Cloud Shinobi Village and Konoha Village, but I can't do it in a short time. Since a gust of wind in the country of fire has changed the world's structure drastically, then there will be more chaos and longer chaos, so that Iwagakure will have enough time to develop. At this moment, Inoki regretted that he had not vigorously cultivated ninjas over the years, but instead spent the money to hire other forces to do things, so that Iwagakure's overall strength has not improved. As for the next radical behavior, if it fails, will Konoha's crazy revenge? Inoki doesn't care anymore. As clever as he is, Iwagakure has already done his job, and he has assigned all the sensible people to Lus and Black Soil. One day, he will pull those uncertain factors away with him, leaving a new era. If you want to come to the Black Soil, you will not be worse than Temari. Iwagakure's movements are fairly quick. In a certain magical world, Chiyu Tsunade and 2 of them were comfortably soaked in the sea on a fairly hidden beach. Then I will do it, Chiyu said after seeing Tsunade canceling the message of Katsuyu's avatar. So the 2 rock shinobi came out of a nearby rock cave, took their aircraft, and flew toward the sun in the sky. This world is very magical, sunny, pristine mountains and seas, and beautiful scenery. It's just a bit of subversion of the 3 views. The world of shinobi is on the surface of a planet, and the world here is actually inside the moon. Immortal Yumura doesn't bother to care about it. Don't you let the child. Wait and see if he is willing to offer his hands here in the end. I still want to have them all. Unexpectedly, the ironclad Tsunade actually changed his attention. The benefits are really touching and harmful. And benefit a lot. Before Kabuto and the big-bellied Nuyu wandered around here once, they found the place Tsunade asked them to find. So Tsunade invites people to the genin world this time, preparing him to experience the severe beatings of the society and grow up quickly. Well, this is best. After all, I don't want to talk about Tensigen. This Gawazi will pass his dream to the blogger in the future, which shows that he has the ability to predict the future. I have to check if it is. The old toad at Mount Myaboku always feels a little shady, or this kid is simple to cheat. Therefore, every location is the lowest point in the world, and the other 4 directions all rise in a curve, and you can see other scenery in the distance. To the Otsutsuki Shurin, Tsunade's previous attitude was the same as that of Sasuke, thinking that after being evaded by Naruto's mouth, they were very handsome in guarding the ninja world without any regrets. Tsunade comfortably soaked in the clean sea, squinting his eyes, looking at the world somewhat greedily. First, he wanted to study his bloodline, and second, let the ninja world have a willing guardian. Understanding my wife, I will make him willingly give it to him. With such a big ninja world, he will definitely not be unfamiliar with this place, so he can live in the ninja world. Now that Tsunade has taken a fancy to the things of the people, I'm sorry, if you are gone, these are naturally unnecessary. The magical gravitation, even if the sea in this world is curved, will not affect the flow direction, nor will it fluctuate, which is really refreshing. I said it was private. Husband, I have changed my mind. I don't want to kill him in the future. I want this place. Let's live here in the future. That's okay. When I run out of him, I'll cut him. By the way, immortal Yumura next to him. Do you want to send him away completely? Chiyu said. Ninja is gone. But he didn't go down to disturb the chakra consciousness of those dead souls and the immortals of Hamura. Tsunade was prepared to train the Sharon, and finally used to make the Sharon the killer of the wage earners. Chapter 162. In the inner world of the moon, a few hundred kilometers up and down, a golden sun tens of miles in size hangs in the sky. Of course, it is an artificial sun that can't burn to death. And in this golden artificial sun, like a huge enchantment, it was a slightly dark world. In the space of dozens of miles, there is a barren, with countless floating stone islands floating. In the most central location, the largest island floats here, with a large, exquisite castle above it, and all the floating islands in this space surround it. A young man with a miserable look, standing on the square of the huge castle, his figure slightly depressed. This boy was about 14 or 15 years old, with short silver hair, a delicate face, and a neat aristocratic costume. It was the hollow eyes without pupils, which affected this fairy-like temperament. This person is the descendant of the immortals of Hamura, the Otsutsuki Sharon, the only person who lives on the moon. Ugh! The boy sighed softly, and countless warm memories of the past poured into his mind. It is a pity that he has lived alone in this world for 5 or 6 years since the death of his last tribe's father. Before his death, his father and elders placed high hopes on him, hoping that he could fulfill the wishes of his ancestors for thousands of years and fulfill the mission of the Otsutsuki clan. To destroy Sage of 6 Paths to create a failed ninja world and reshape the completed world. Over the years, he has not dared to slack off, always working hard to cultivate. Only occasionally, that terrifying sense of loneliness is sad. Although there are thousands of puppet soldiers and dozens of high IQ matchmaking figures that look exactly the same as people, there is always a gap. After a bit of emotion, Sharon slowly went to the temple where the giant Tensigen was placed and continued to use the energy of the giant Tensigen to practice and strive to fully control the giant Tensigen as soon as possible. After the physique becomes stronger, go to the house of Hyuga and borrow a pair of Byakugan to start Tensigen. Boom! At this moment, vibrations rang from the edge of the artificial sun tens of miles away. The distance is far, and the sound is not loud, but inside the silent artificial sun, the transmission is quite crisp. Otsutsuki froze for a moment. Could it be that the artificial sun is out of order? He didn't think about the direction in which he was invaded by the enemy. Since the ancestors' Utsuan immortals opened up this world, there has been no war except for a war against the betrayers in the family. Not to mention what other enemies can invade here. Boom! There was a slight noise, and the light of fire was faintly seen. Otsutsuki frowned, then controlled some puppets and flew there. The days are boring, cultivation or something. Wait for tomorrow, and go over and see if there is anything new. This thing is pretty defensive. Somewhere in the sea, Chiyu and Tsunade looked at them with high-powered binoculars. Chiyu said with emotion. The 2 rock shinobi controlled by his illusion are not strong, but rely on Kabuto and Hiryu, as well as the latest flying armor perfected by Snow Country, increased chakra, and ninjutsu. Even with the help of the energy bombardment of the battle armor, the bombardment that can open the mountain and crack the rock, cannot shake the enchantment of this artificial sun. It is really surprisingly strong. What's the matter with this little b asterisk 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 d? There are so many puppets, no matter if there is no flying team patrolling around. It's been a long time, and there is no movement? Is this too lazy? It should have come to beat him a long time ago and let him improve his practice early. Tsunade murmured, a little frowning. How strong is Otsutsuki's talent? Otsutsuki Urashiki didn't say anything about his approval. In the future, he will only transplant Byakugan from 15-year-old Hyuga Hanabi and start Tensigen in 2 or 3 days. You know, after Uchiha Madara transplanted her grandfather's cells, it took decades to turn on Rinnegan. Perhaps those puppets also need to consume the energy of the giant Tensigen, so reluctant to use it. Chiyu said. In the anime, after Naruto Hinata joined forces to crush the giant Tensigen in the future, the entire artificial sun and all the puppets are invalidated. Obviously, all this requires the energy supply of the giant Tensigen. Besides, this place has never been invaded by foreign enemies, so it is strange to be defensive. The part of the summoning rat left by Uzumaki Onoka hasn't been found patrolling by the team of flying puppets of the Sanrin. Here comes. Chiyu, holding his glasses, said immediately. Tsunade heard the words, put down the wine bottle in his hand, and looked up through his glasses. And here, Otsutsuki, standing on top of the flying puppet, came to the artificial solar barrier, and Jane opened the passage. When he perceives all this outside, people are dumbfounded. 2 strange people actually flew here and attacked the artificial solar barrier. Swish, swish. Before he had time to think about how to say the opening remarks, the 2 opposing men attacked him and the puppets. Facing the attack, Sharon raised his hand subconsciously, and the green energy on his right hand bloomed. The energy bombs fired by the 2 people who invaded here were all absorbed by the green light of Sharon's right hand. I saw 2 intruders, one of which was directly blown into powder. Proper multifunctional weapons, no matter what, they are only semi-intelligent, and the person who can control these puppets does not have any tactics. Tsunade muttered while holding the binoculars. Sharon's face was dark, and immediately led a group of puppets to chase after him. Then the couple watched a botched air pursuit without heart. Teach him a lesson, it's too rough. Tsunade couldn't stand it anymore, put down the binoculars and said, and went on drinking. The flying speed is very fast and extremely flexible. What's more, these puppets not only have strong attacks, but also have a rapid attack frequency, and even have the skill of a protective shield. At this time, the other puppets also launched dense attacks, and countless beads of golden small energy bombs poured out toward the people fleeing in front of them like a torrential rain. It's just instinctive and crude use. Poor these puppets, they can beat Hyuga Hayashi running around in 3 or 5, but they can't play the biggest role. At this moment, the rock shinobi under the control of Chiyu Huan can walk the group at will like a dog under the pursuit of dozens of flying puppets. Boom. Then he returned a huge golden energy bomb. I had known that using the Greer energy in the armor to launch an attack, his ability to absorb chakra would have failed. Boom, don't. Wait until he gets to the ninja world. It will scare the children. To be honest, the large number of flying puppets like Sharon are very powerful troops. Seeing this, the other survivor flew down without looking back. Immediately afterwards, the Otsutsuki in the air began to frustrate the journey. When the pursuit battle gradually reached the ground, under the control of Chiyu, the remaining rock shinobi used the flying armor to jump horizontally, various roundabout attacks, and with the help of mountains and jungles, just 10 minutes to let the people. The flying puppets are almost completely wiped out. Chapter 163. In the end, there was almost only the flying puppet where Sharon was. Although he was the most attacked, he was completely blocked by him. The black-faced Sharon felt that the enemy in front was beginning to become weak, so he summoned dozens of flying puppets from the scroll and continued to pursue the enemy. Sharon's murderous intent bloomed. The opponent not only invaded and attacked the holy land of their Otsutsuki clan, but also couldn't kill the opponent. This made Sharon's anger and fierce pain on his face. Finally, When the opponent approached the entrance of the underground lake, he was exhausted and exhausted. He was blown up by the Sharon. As she perceives the entrance of this secret cave, Sharon's expression is gloomy again. This was the only secret space-time passage from the moon to the ninja world, and he naturally had been informed by his elders early. But I didn't expect that these people actually came from here. Then he must be from the ninja world. However, isn't it said that this space-time channel is very secretive and will not be discovered? Isn't there a lot of illusion traps? It's all here, so prudent to give up. Naturally want to explore it. Boom, boom. As soon as he entered the entrance of the cave, a faint sound from inside made Sharon's expression a little gloomy again, and his figure quickly swept away. Huh. Damn crabs, quickly unlock them. The heroic White Earth looked at the big crab squashed by Earth Style, and then he said with a sigh of relief. Hearing that, the others who were not hit by the giant crab foam ball immediately dispelled the illusion from the companion who had been hit by the illusion. 3 teams in Baitu found the green, glowing underground lake, and then carefully tested it. I found that the lake was very deep, and there were many illusion traps below. Fortunately, she listened to Master Tsuchikage's words and arranged for everyone to use Shadow Clone to explore the way, and then she passed through the long underground lake without any risk. However, this lake is not only dreamy, but also has 3 subversive views. Baitu felt that he was waiting for someone to go all the way to the bottom of the lake. Why did he come out from another lake without changing the direction? After coming out, unlike the green luminous lake at the entrance, the lake here is blue. Immediately looking at the vicinity of this cave, everyone vaguely found some monuments and steels, which made Baitu's interest. After all, in the death of 4th Kazekage some time ago, their Awagakure also went to investigate the underground ruins. It's just a pity that all the treasures were taken away by Hyde, and he couldn't find the other party. Now there is another historic site here. Will it be a new treasure? Is there any information on the Shell organization? This is Ancient Uchiha? Who of you knows Ancient Uchiha? Baitu asked, a little embarrassed. Most ninjas are fighting and killing, and they don't necessarily recognize all the words. If she can know that this is an ancient text and not a patterned rune, it proves that she is not bad. After seeing everyone shaking their heads, Baitu was a little disappointed, so he asked everyone to take pictures. The small ancient monument was moved away, and the larger one took pictures. When everyone was exploring, a huge crab came out. After several fights, although the big crab was not strong, a series of bubble ball illusion attacks still caused a few ninjas to be recruited. After solving the big crab, Baitu asked people to rescue the illusionist companion, while continuing to watch out for the surroundings. Be careful, someone is coming. Baitu sensed a violent energy reaction and immediately shouted vigilantly. Huh! As soon as the Baitu dialect fell, a boy in Uchiha clothes with short silver and blue hair flew from above the entrance of the cave. A crowd of rock shinobi, all gathered around Shiroto, set up a defensive posture. The handsome boy with his eyes closed, facing Baitu and the others, a huge murderous intent blooming, like a cold winter, enveloped a crowd of rock shinobi. The fallen ninja people dare to invade the moon and look for death. After Otsutsuki said that there was an infinite killing intent, the violent chakra burst into his right hand instantly, and the golden energy ball gathered. Mujitsu ninjutsu? San. Shirato saw the opponent's instant ninjutsu and the fiercely reacting chakra, and immediately chose to dodge. Boom. The big golden energy ball of the bucket erupted from the hands of Sharon. Boom, there was a loud noise, and in the enclosed space, the air current of the explosion was extremely violent, and countless rocks collapsed. The White Earth, who still wants to fight back, can only save his life in horror. The opponent's attack accuracy is very poor, but he can't stand his power. Yu Guangzhong, except for the 3 Jonin who reacted quickly and used Earth Dragon In to enter the ground. All the other 6 ninjas were not spared. Whhhhhhh. At this time, dozens of flying puppets came one after another in the dusty and swaying cave, surrounding the Otsutsuki Sharon. Perceiving that Baitu and the 3 Jonin are still alive, dozens of puppets suddenly flooded with golden energy balls in their hands. Shuhu. Earth Style Wall. Earth Style, Iwaya Fall Technique. Boom Rumble. However, it was Jonin's full-strength, thick earth flow wall that was instantly exploded by the dense golden energy bomb. and the four people of Baitu dodge in horror amidst the splashing of the rock and soil. Fortunately, another Earth-style ninjutsu allowed countless huge rocks above the cave to fall, giving them some gaps. The four of them jumped into the lake and escaped without even thinking about it. The opponent is all Muji ninjutsu, and the attack is super strong. They are not at the same level at all. And here in Sharon, even though the opponent was running away and wanted to chase them to death in perception, countless rocks fell, and he and the puppets evaded awkwardly. After staying for a while, looking at a messy place, Sharon glanced at the tragic death of crabs and some inexplicable stone walls, and then jumped into the lake. Prepare to go with the puppets to hunt down these people who invaded the moon. Bo 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 bo. However, just in the golden lake bottom, when advancing on the round boulders, among the countless golden illusion bubbles, a huge golden illusion bubble flew towards the Sharon. Sharon wanted to resist this illusion, but after contacting, he stopped when he saw the text above. Let's give up and ask for help. This sentence appeared in illusory bubble. Although Sharon doesn't have eyes, he can use the eyes of the puppet to get vision. When you see this rumor, you must have no control over Tenseigan, so you want to enter the ninja world in advance. Although I want to stop you, I don't know if you will listen, but no matter how you choose, I hope you can read this message. Is this, the father left it or the elders leave it? Why use this kind of ancient prose? Sharon resisted the temper of chasing the enemy and looked at this message with some nostalgia. Nine-Tails Beast, Sage of Six Paths, 2 sons reincarnated from generation to generation, 3 holy lands. The ancestor Otsutsuki Kaguya did not kill the Otsutsuki style. Other Otsutsuki outside the ninja world? Not long before I was born, the Ten-Tails body ghetto statue suppressed by Moon Ninja was stolen. Suspected that Rinnegan, who is comparable to Tenseigan, is now present? Is it possible that Ten-Tails Jinchuriki beyond the power of Tenseigan will appear? Hiss! Otsutsuki was stunned for a moment. No wonder his father and elders kept telling themselves never to be in the Genin world. Unless you completely control the giant Tenseigan, you can secretly go to Ninja Hyuga's house to grab a wife and a pair of Byakugan. Sharon was a good boy. After hesitating, he returned to the shore and found the 6 dying people in the ninja world. Then Sharon used a green mental ball to implant them into their bodies, completely controlling them. Therefore, Sharon asked these people to tell how they found this place and the intelligence of the ninja world now. Chapter 164. 5 Ninja Villages, Tail Beast Jinchuriki, Witches, Dragon Veins, and Shell Tissue. Fortunately, Rinnegan, he doesn't seem to be as strong as he thought, and he was taken away by others. It's time in Spaceman Gekyo. After the Otsutsuki Sharon Mind Ball took control of these dying rock shinobi, he learned about the current situation in the ninja world. Unexpectedly, Rinnegan really appeared, Ghetto Statue also appeared, and even Otsutsuki-type Shell Tissue also appeared. Sharon frowned and pondered for a long time in a huge messy cave. According to the past, he might be obedient and would not go to the dangerous ninja world and talk about it after a wave of steady growth. But now that Otsutsuki-like traces appear, several groups of forces are vying for Rinnegan and collecting the tail beast to resurrect 10 tails. But the people dare not sit back and watch. If Rinnegan is dangerous, forget it. But the former owner of Rinnegan, was taken away. The people who transplant Rinnegan today seem to be weak. If he seizes Rinnegan at this time and snatches the ghetto statue back, will everything be safer? If you really want 10 Tails or 10 Tails Jinchuriki to appear, even if he turns on Tenseigan, it will be a lot of luck. The Otsutsuki who was seriously injured by the ancestor Otsutsuki Kaguya's attack should also investigate whether he is in danger, as well as the Otsutsuki. Looking at the messages given to him by the elders before, it seems that the Otsutsuki are very strong, and the ancestor Otsutsuki Kaguya has sealed the space channel through which they can come to the ninja world. I don't know how long this can stop them, but I feel a little anxious for a while. After pondering for a long time, after Shuren killed these dying rock shinobi, he immediately flew back to the artificial sun. Let me just say, he didn't come down in the 4 battles of the ninja world. I am afraid he is really stubborn. No, I am afraid that he can't deceive him to go to the ninja world. We shouldn't leave him that message to scare others, baby. Seeing Sharon flying back to the artificial sun, Chiyu said with a little regret. Don't worry, he can be proud. The information about Rinnegan and Tin Tails was revealed, and the addition of Otsutsuki was enough for him to worry. Otsutsuki was seriously injured, and the information that Rinnegan was taken away was revealed. He should not be counseled. Tsunade said confidently, "Don't you go to the shinobi world? If you don't go, Tsunade won't mind pushing someone to attack the moon. I think we have to add some insurance to the things of the family. Shell Organization and Tionwy Otsutsuki, we can also try to play boldly. But I can't do that. If you really want him to quietly control the giant Tensigan, or if he turns on Tensigan, then we currently have no means to guard against the moon smashing into the ninja world." Chiyu was still a little worried. Although Otsutsuki's style is not weak, he has not yet recovered to its peak, and he will not have a chance to recover in 20 years. After all, his tool has not yet matured. As for the Otsutsuki trio, they are just worried that they will eat the peach-style evolution of the golden style. Even if there is no growth period Naruto, the power that Tsunade can mobilize today is not impossible. The big deal is asking Uncle Snake to pull a train coffin. What's so strange? But she is not the same. This is definitely not a talkative villain. In the animation, after he took full control of the giant Tensigan, he directly pushed the moon closer to the ninja world before arranging the puppets to come to the ninja world to snatch Byakugan's wife. For Sharon, if one is not paying attention, this guy is really going to smash the moon down, and there is really no way to prevent such a big moon from smashing down. After all, the chakra cannon of Cloud Shinobi Village, I don't know if the project has been established yet. This is indeed a problem. Let me think about it. Tsunade listened to Chiyu's words, rubbing his jaw and thinking. It can be said that after knowing a lot of plots here in Chiyu, Tsunade is daring to fiddle with everything. But you have to beware, what if you get rid of it? Look for an opportunity. Let's go and see the giant Tensigan. There will be a chance in the future. You will learn Minato's trick behind Obito and leave a flying thunder god mark on the back of Sharon. Tsunade said. In less than an hour, Chiyu and the two people soaked in the sea saw Sharon hurriedly rushing to the underground lake leading to the world of ninja. Daughter-in-law, it seems that you are right. This guy will surely be in the genin world. Chiyu sighed. Okay, since the host's house is no longer at home, let's go to his house to play. Seeing the housefriend come down and enter the cave, Tsunade said. Hearing this, Chiyu took the telescope and observed the artificial sun hundreds of miles above. When the patrolling puppets appeared in the blind spot, Chiyu took the Tsunade and disappeared in a hurry. The two rock shinobi, who were controlled by Chiyu to fly to the artificial sun just now, left a lot of small pieces of paper on the way, with some black runes on them. Look at the large tracts of deserted cities below. In those days, there were hundreds of thousands of people in the civil war for the end of the month. With the dedication of various generations over the past few hundred years, there are naturally a lot of them. Chiyu replied, inside the floating island of the sun and the moon, in a huge steel cage of several tens of meters, a giant Tensigan of 20 meters of golden brilliance stands here. You have to refuel, you can't reach it at once for hundreds of miles. Flying Thunder God flashed several times and came to the surface of the artificial sun. Tsunade said Chiyu. At the same time, he stepped forward and tentatively approached the giant Tensigan a little bit. Tusk. This big giant Tensigan, how much Byakugan does it take to accumulate? The two of them came here because they wanted to leave more of Flying Thunder God's mark here. In case Sharon is not sensible in the future, Chiyu can use Flying Thunder God to steal crystals directly here. So cruel? I'm afraid we can't destroy it either. In the gloomy world, Chiyu reacted to the limit, and once again used Shinshin to land on a nearby floating stone island. The black robes of the two of them could well avoid being noticed. After using Shinshin several times, they approached the floating island of the sun and the moon. The two people in sage mode, after sensing the situation in the floating island of the sun and the moon, nodded and disappeared again. Chiyu quickly retreated, looking helpless at the giant Tensigan. Don't go shopping, go directly to the giant Tensigan, Tsunade said, holding a telescope. Until Chiyu used Xianshu and Greer's energy, it was still absorbed. Sure enough, when he was about to touch the giant Tensigan, the chakra on Chiyu's body was quickly absorbed by the giant Tensigan. There was a spell on it. Without the blood of the immortal Yumura, it would be sucked dry. With Tsunade, Chiyu quietly used his magic to advance on many floating islands, avoiding the detection of border guards around the huge castle. Now it seems that it is a bit difficult. Maybe it is possible to cultivate 1 or 2 people who can control in Hyuga's house in advance. Chiyu touched the tip of his nose and pulled the Tsunade. The circle and cross combination of eternal Mangekyo, Sharingan bloomed. Using pupil magic, he took the Tsunade's spatial displacement and penetrated into the artificial sun. Knowing the plot, she easily discovered the sun-moon floating island next to the huge central castle where the giant Tenseigan is. Chapter 165. What a big deal. I'll just bring 1 or 2 ninjas from the Hyuga family with me in the future. Tsunade obviously thought of Chiyu together. Then Tsunade continued to observe the giant Tenseigan, and Chiyu quickly set up many hidden flying thunder god marks in the space here. I really don't understand. There are so many Byakugans in this giant Tenseigan. It shouldn't be difficult to find a pair of high-purity Byakugan. Why didn't Shuren think about getting a pair from it? You have to go to the Shinkai to find Hyuga's house. Tsunade looked around, while muttering, perhaps this thing is just eating but not vomiting. Chiyu said a seemingly logical answer. In the animation, the giant Tenseigan was blown up by Naruto Hinata, and later the Tenseigan was beaten and disappeared by Naruto. Hinata regained Hanabi's eyes. Then the mad Sharon absorbed a large amount of Byakugan scattered from the giant Tenseigan, and he was able to gain powers similar to Tenseigan to continue pushing the moon. It proves that the countless Byakugans in the giant Tenseigan at this moment have been nurtured by the giant Tenseigan for hundreds of years. If Sharon's explosive physique is worthy of a pair of Byakugan in the giant Tenseigan, it might be better than Hyuga Hanabi's Byakugan. But not to mention that when the elders of Sharon died, why didn't they leave their eyes to Sharon and didn't even move the Byakugan in the giant Tenseigan? I really don't understand. Perhaps I didn't expect it, or maybe I can't get it, right? After a while, the two went to the Sharon castle and looked through the library. Fortunately, the Moon Forbearance clan was used to being at ease and didn't engage in any organs. As for the countless puppets outside and the puppets in the castle, how can they stop Chiyu, who has the magical pupil technique? Really, there is nothing useful. What about ninjutsu secrets? What about artificial sun technology and these semi-intelligent puppet manufacturing technologies? Tsunade mumbled disappointedly. Obviously, it is something made by Tenseigan similar to Inyang Dan. As for the secret of ninjutsu, it seems that she did not use any secret of ninjutsu, right? A place where there has been almost no war for thousands of years. What secret of ninjutsu is required? Chiyu shook his head. The ninjutsu secrets of the ninja world are so developed, and it's just a blowout in recent decades. Almost all of the top secret forbidden techniques from the 5 great ninja villages come from the 2nd generation category, and Konoha's Senju Tobarama will not mention it. Sunegakure's magnet style was created by 2nd Kazekage, Iwagakure's dust was also created by 2nd Tsuchikage, and Cloud Shinobi Village's lightning style chakra mode was also created by 2nd Reikage. With Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara's oppressive ninja world, and the collective birth of Jinchuriki, the high-end combat power suddenly increased, which gave birth to the era of the invention of the forbidden technique. Like Shinobu, they had to learn from Hyuga's family in terms of skills. It's too peaceful, and it's not too much. Tsunade sighed with emotion. Many people think that the world is peaceful and the world is peaceful and beautiful, but if the world really develops like that, is there still room for mankind to make progress? Even the blue star of Chiyu's previous life. Even if the wars in the new century are less and smaller, but other wars are not necessarily weaker than gun wars. For example, commercial wars, technological wars, cultural wars, and even countries acquiesce in the existence of such alternative wars. Because of competition, there is a strong desire to win and a greater upper limit of progress. If, as Sage of Six Paths thought, everyone understood and helped each other to create a harmonious and beautiful world, wouldn't all of them be like Chiyu in the previous life? Tintin slumped at home and waited to die? It is understandable that such an ideal world has existed for several years or more. If a few hundred years later, suddenly wars and disasters strike the world, wouldn't everyone have to wait to die? Because they have no ability to deal with difficulties, and even their cognition of evil, wrong, bad, etc. is gone. You said, Does the ideal of Sage of Six Paths really have a chance to be realized? Tsunade turned his head and asked Chiyu. When human beings are no longer advancing at a certain level of civilization, and there is someone who can always guarantee that the world of ninja will never be invaded, maybe you can try to send infinite Tsukuyami every few years. Chiyu replied heartlessly. Tsunade could hear Byakugan, but he couldn't refute it. After all, the human heart is really elusive. Hey, there is no formation for the immortals of Yomiura to ascend to the moon in the ninja world, and there are no techniques and principles to create this world. It's a pity. You look too high. Maybe the immortal Yomiura doesn't understand what's going on. The most basic three-body technique. Can you explain it scientifically? Don't look for those. There are many books written by Sage of Six Paths. Collect them, and they will be valuable then. Chiyu replied. After the Lunar Ninja Branch House destroyed the clan, many historical texts were destroyed, but some of the books written by Sage of Six Paths and Yomiura Immortals have excerpts. After all, Sage of Six Paths is a book madman, a house of people. Book, look at Ashura crying. Is it the secret of ninjutsu? Just burn it. As far as Sage of Six Paths is concerned, it may not be written as the fire will of the third-generation teacher is wonderful. Tsunade expressed disdain. From the innocent words and deeds of Sage of Six Paths, she could think of what the hell Sage of Six Paths wrote. The will that third Hokage carried forward was not even dared to destroy her fifth generation, and it has been passed on. As for Sage of Six Paths, after he died, all his will disappeared instantly. Don't say that. It's also an immortal anyway. Some truths that point to the heart can still be used for education. Forget it. If you don't want to raise humans as pigs in the pen, there is no need to spread this thing. The quotations of Sage of Six Paths are so embarrassingly dogmatic that God knows what it will be misinterpreted by people. Look at the history of your celestial dynasty at Blue Star, 2,000 years of Confucianism. Do you really practice the will of Confucius? It has been misinterpreted by the feudal rulers. When Sharon handed it in here, I burned these things. The philosophical thing is that Tsunade is inferior to him, or the humans in the era after me are inferior to him. Tsunade said very firmly, which made Chiyu a little regretful. Keep these things and wait for Sage of Six Paths to come out and wander around. Maybe many powerful nobles in the ninja world will spend a lot of money to buy these antiques. Without catching any good things, Tsunade was a little frustrated. After Chiyu stopped, he put down a lot of chakra lightsabers, and then quietly left. Lunar Ninja's chakra lightsabers are mostly used by high-level puppets. I don't know if they are clear about it. If they steal it suddenly, they may be wary of it. Besides, the strength of the two nowadays, that thing hardly helps. The subtle use of chakra, covering the weapon, is almost the same as a chakra ninja. Unless it's the various artifacts, Kusanaru's sword, or Six Paths Ninja or something. I didn't expect Sharon to go to Iwagakure first. Would you like me to pay attention to it to prevent him from destroying Iwagakure? Chiyu said. The two left Sharon's house and carefully crossed the lake, avoiding the puppets left behind by Sharon, and then Flying Thunder God technique left, and by the way, they found Sharon's whereabouts. It's okay to go to Iwagakure, otherwise I'm worried that he will be hit by Konoha and dare not come back to Ninja World. Although Sharon's advantage is strong, but the tactics are inferior, it is not necessarily what Iwagakure can do with Iwagakure. Maybe the old fox Ohayamu will fool him. In a few days, let's spread the information of the moon, and the world of ninja should be lively and lively. Let him accept the severe beatings of the society from Monoki. Wouldn't it deepen his extreme thinking? Then you will have one less wage earner. If you have less, you will be less. If you fail in the end, then kill it. Chapter 166. In the evening, the Tsuchikage building in Iwagakure is surrounded by countless hidden ombus. Although it looks the same as usual, there is absolutely no irrelevant person who can walk into the core area at this moment. In the daily office of Tsuchikage building, there are only lights but no people. And in a sealed secret room, Tsuchikage Onoki, a group of high-level officials and many intelligence personnel are busy here. After a long time, everyone has no time to eat. Oyemu floated in the air, frowning with countless paper manuscripts. After arranging for Baitu to pass at midnight yesterday, this morning, I received information about Baitu's exploration of the secret realm. The information that followed was the magic of the secret lake water, luminescence, countless illusion traps and artificially excavated water spheres, including the underwater bottom that subverted the world view and the other side of the lake. Then there are some broken ancient buildings with some things recorded in ancient texts. After Anoki used the summoning beast to pass these photos back in Baitu, they immediately let the village intelligence department start the deciphering work. After all, Baitu intelligence said that those who attacked them said that Baitu and others were fallen people in the ninja world and claimed that they had invaded the moon. This caused Oyemu to come down for a few hours, frequently raising his head to look up at the sky. Why did an underground lake run to the moon? Is there anyone on the moon? There is almost no answer to this question. Even if the moon is mentioned in some stories, people are yearning. But today's ninja world has high-powered telescopes. Although it is not possible to see the moon completely, the fact that the surface of the moon is barren is still known. Had it not been for the recent emergence of the magnificent underground ruins of the ancient Glenelg Empire and the resurrection of the legend of the Shell Organization and Sage of Six Paths, Anoki would have liked to bother to care about such unfounded things. But as the intelligence team deciphered the ancient text on the photos sent by Baitu little by little, Oyemu became a little more dignified. Master Tsuchikage. Now these ancient texts are almost completely deciphered. Although the sample is not complete, it probably means this. The leader of the intelligence team wiped his sweat and handed all the compiled translation files to Anoki. Wiping sweat is not tiring, but the above information makes people sweat profusely. Moon Ninja Otsutsuki, a descendant of Sage of Six Paths brother Otsutsuki Himura. The moon belongs to the two sealed mothers Otsutsuki Kaguya and Ten Tails Geto statue. Even for a few hours, I got some pieces of information intermittently, but when the more complete information appeared, Anoki couldn't help taking a breath. 2,000 years ago, the Otsutsuki clan came to the world of ninja and routinely collected the energy of the world. This kind of energy collection will definitely lead to the exhaustion of the world and the disappearance of all life. Otsutsuki Kaguya suddenly had a child in this world, for the child, and to occupy this place, so he attacked his companion Otsutsuki. But Otsutsuki Kaguya, who ruled the world, ended up in conflict with his two sons because he used humans to make biological weapons in an attempt to fight against other Otsutsuki. In the end, the three mothers and sons fought for several months. Sage of Six Paths and Yumura created the moon and sealed the bodies of Otsutsuki Kaguya and Ten Tails on the moon. Sage of Six Paths leads the recovery of mankind in the broken world, while the immortals of Yumura go to the moon to guard. Several senior executives who had read the information were speechless, and Oyemu looked at the information with a sigh. After living for more than 70 years, how could the truth of the ninja world break through his three views in the past few months? Let alone the legends of Sage of Six Paths. If Methria hadn't exploded in Lulan 4 or 5 years ago, even the monsters like sprites would be considered legends by Oyemu. I thought that sprites were ancient traces, but I didn't expect that the ninja world would be like this magical fantasy. No wonder the spies who have been stalking Danzo recently will find Danzo's roots, and occasionally various legendary investigations, such as the Box of Bliss in Kushinin Village. Wouldn't that thing really be a monster sealed by Sage of Six Paths as in the legend? Shaking his head, Anoki put aside other thoughts and continued to look at the intelligence in his hand. Short sentences, containing jaw-dropping information, Anoki not only needs to digest, he also has to think about the people Shirozu meets. The four jonin, in front of the opponent, let alone fight back. They may not even be able to defend themselves. They can only escape quickly. It can fly, and can also perform Muji attacks, with super destructive power. Anoki had to analyze these quickly from the perspective of analyzing the enemy. A 14-5-year-old boy is so strong. How many people are there in the opponent's power? Is it a family? Still a world? Does a Wagakure need to consider dealing with each other? Can you defend against their offense? Or can you attack them? Alas, the situation in the ninja world has been messed up by Danzo and Tsunade. Onogi hasn't planned the progress of the land in the country yet, so why should he beware of this mess? The Akatsuki Organization Remnant Party who has been eyeing the tail beast, the shell organization that is doing troubles in this world, now has one more month of tolerance. Now that the facts have proved that he himself was wrong, naturally he will not shake the faces of these two people again. Seeing the emergency sign on Summoning's Beast Claw, Oyemu quickly took the message and opened it. Everything is a little inexplicable. You said you haven't shown up for so many years, so now you just have a look at your door. As for this, bang, two people who are the same stubborn are always unable to get together. Lus immediately organized the defense work in the village, and the air defense is ready to proceed immediately. Winya, please go and ask Lao Zi to follow. The information that Inoki got just now was sent by Shiroto. Oyemu didn't care about Lao Zi's attitude. He had been used to it for decades. But when they were halfway there, a flying unit from high in the sky quickly flew to Awagakure. After Baitu and others discovered through their telescopes that they were attacking them from the secret realm, they immediately notified Master Tsuchikage. After receiving instructions from Inoki to retreat to the village, the Shiroto 4 rushed back to Awagakure without stopping. If it weren't for the unpredictable situation in the ninja world, and he needs him to guard Awagakure, Lao Zi wouldn't bother to care about Oyemu. Exploring a historic site, another new force appeared. Unfortunately, it came to us, Awagakure. At this moment, Onamu's brows were even more frowned, and he didn't expect the revenge to come so quickly. Old man, who did you offend this time? I think you should have gotten into the soil earlier, otherwise Awagakure will not be at peace. Fortail's Jinchuriki, dressed in purple and red beard, turned on the poison tongue mode. A cloud of white mist appeared, and a message-transmitting summoning beast appeared again. However, Onogi's attitude towards Lao Zi has eased a bit now. Back then, it was because I didn't vigorously cultivate ninjas in the village and took the route of using money to invite other ninja forces to do things that conflict with the two Jinchuriki, Lao Zi and Han. Inoki immediately gave orders and then quickly left the secret room. Following Inoki's words, the high-level Awagakure became busy again. Chapter 167. Historical Site? Shell Tissue. Lao Zi frowned immediately upon hearing this. If it is the kind of underground ruins of the Greer Empire, he doesn't care. Although he doesn't know how Hyde killed 4th Kazekage, it seems that they are not very strong. But if it is a shell organization, it is very troublesome. Danzo is definitely a person who doesn't speak much, and even Danzo has no power, so you have to guard against it. It's not a shell tissue, it's like it's from the moon. I explored the space-time channel that strayed into the moon and had a fight with them. Ohayemu said absently. Sure enough, as he expected, after hearing the words, Lao Zi subconsciously raised his head to look at the fading sky and looked back at him with an expression of "You are teasing me." In a short period of time, Oyemu didn't show Lao Zi the information in the ancient Uchiha Jinchuriki. He used force, so he could explain the truth clearly to him. After a while, the enemy will come, isn't it all clear? When people are old, don't do these consuming things. Moon of Shinobi? Otsutsuki? Byakugan? However, Lao Zi's expression changed drastically, and he murmured in shock, and then tentatively looked at Onogi, his eyes flashing with thick consultation. Huh? How did you know? Onogi was also taken aback. Lao Zi should have no information about what just happened. Is that true? How could it be? After the group of people stopped at the peak a few kilometers southeast of Awagakure, Lao Zi's expression became more and more wrong. Lao Zi, what's wrong with you? How do you know this? Oyemu looked at Lao Zi and asked. Master Tsuchikage, hurry up and notify Han to come and help. Just now Fortails told me that lunar forbearance is very dangerous. How many are the opponents? Lao Zi said. Just now when Oyemu told him that the enemy he was going to deal with was someone from the moon, the Fortails inside Old Z actually contacted him. After Lao Zi asked Oyemu for information, Fortails quickly told Lao Zi something. So Lao Zi immediately conveyed Fortails' words to Oyemu. And Oyemu was also shocked by Lao Zi's retelling of Fortails. Hundreds of years ago, Moon Shinobi had visited the Shinobi world and found their distant relative, Hyuga. Then a cruel scene broke out, and the Hyuga clan was brutally murdered by the Moon's forbearance. Fortunately, the nine-tailed beasts made a move, and together they defeated these lunar ninjas. They came to the ninja world to capture the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, and used a large amount of Byakugan to create super weapons, which were then used to destroy the ninja world. The Moon Ninja, who claims to have inherited the will of the immortals of Yomiura, believes that the world of ninja has been fighting for thousands of years, and it has long been a decadent and failed world, which needs to be completely eliminated and recreated. In the words of Four Tails, if Moon Forbearance is too much, he and Five Tails can't compete. Oyemu was dumbfounded. What he said to Laozi later was ridiculous enough, but he did not expect to hear even more ridiculous. How can you destroy the world if you move? The Greer Empire also destroyed the world. In the words of He Yan, a descendant of the Greer Empire, there was a civil war in the Greer Empire. It seems that the deserts from the Kingdom of Wind to the Kingdom of Earth, as well as the barren western part of the ninja world, were caused by the disaster thousands of years ago. Then it seems that the shell organization Otsutsuki Kaguya, the 10 tails that Akatsuki wants to resurrect, are all destroyed. Now, it seems that Danzo and Tsunade are both moderate in wanting to rule the world. Baitu Intelligence said that dozens of people flew in. Oyemu was stunned for a long time, and then replied to Laozi. Hearing this, Laozi breathed a sigh of relief without seeing the Four Tails inside his body any more movement. I heard that Four Tails just explained that when their 9-tailed beasts faced the densely packed Byakugan, the scalp was tingling after thinking about the scene. The pupil skills of the Hyuga clan and Uchiha clan are equally famous in ninja, although everyone admits that Sharingan is superior to Byakugan in strength. But it does not mean that Byakugan is weak. As long as there is no big difference in strength in close combat, there is almost no one who can defeat the Hyuga clan. Now that Hyuga has a population of 200 and dozens of ninjas, they dare to be called the #1 ninja in the ninja world, and no one opposes it. Think about facing Wando Byakugan. Can you not have a numb scalp? However, Onogi is not good at this moment. Lunar Forbearance could mobilize Mando Byakugan Ninja Genin world hundreds of years ago. What about now? They can't have foreign enemies. They are all dead, right? Ninjas can send more than 10,000 people. So how many people should they have in the moon? How much is there now? What Danzo Konoha? What Akatsuki organized the Remnant Party? What shell organization? Onoki felt that it was nothing in front of Mando Byakugan. After all, he used 10,000 ninjas to survive and was called the strongest third Raikage in the world. Onoki knew how inexplicable the number advantage was. Hearing these terrifying information, Onoki's mind went crazy, and it was rare for him to work so hard several times in his life. While thinking about the countermeasures for combat, while thinking about other factors. Here, Laozi put down his binoculars and said solemnly, "It was really the flying team a dozen miles away, flying too fast. Looking up at the night sky where the night falls, and looking at the bright moon, everyone is not happy. The elite Jonin came to me to gather, and everyone else was scattered in a large area, relying on favorable terrain to erect anti-aircraft guns." Onoki immediately ordered, "Since it is an air battle, it is not a war that can be filled with numbers." A dozen elite ninjas gathered around Onoki, and he quickly used the super light and heavy rock technique for everyone, so that everyone could fly in the air. Since the enemy is attacked by the air force, he must gain an advantage in the air, so that the opponent dare not swagger to a Wagakure. Onoki analyzed it for a long time, and he was very sure that the other party would not die in a Wagakure. After all, the two sides did not have too much hatred, and there was no interest to seize. Shuhu. In the night sky, after the flying troops in front of Onoki and others approached quickly, there was no opportunity for dialogue at all. As they approached a few hundred meters, dozens of leading flying troops immediately released a dense golden energy attack, like raindrops. The golden energy bombs like beads shining in the night sky, like shooting stars. Really? Laozi let out a gloomy low voice. Lava-style chakra mode immediately turned on lava-style chakra mode, his whole body blooming like golden red chakra arrogance, and his body like burning molten iron. Lava-style granite. Old Z Jane greeted him, and Jane used a large-scale defensive ninjutsu to resist this dense attack. Boom rumble. In the dark night, countless flashes blazed and artillery roared. Boom boom boom. In the continuous bombing, Laozi looked embarrassed and watched his defenses burst one after another. Lava-style, burning river rock technique. Perceiving the enemy's approach, Laozi flew high, and Jane erupted a continuous huge lava fireball. Boom boom boom. 7 or 8 huge lava fireballs flew past, taking away nearly 10 enemies. However, everyone at Awagakure was too late to be happy, and saw the 20 or 30 flying teams coming from behind. Suddenly, there were hundreds of them. When he left the ninja world, he didn't directly search for Rinnegan and Geto statue, but directly attacked a Wagakure based on the memory of Rock Shinobi, who was controlled by his mental ball. He must eliminate all those who know how to get to the moon to avoid endless harassment of the moon. Chapter 168. Boom Bang Bang. At this time, the Umbu ninja that Anoki had previously ordered also set up an anti-aircraft gun near the mountain below. Against the hundreds of flying enemy forces that suddenly appeared in front, they fired dense artillery shells. For a time, the flames clashed and roared everywhere, and it was so eye-catching and ear-splitting at night. But what is surprising is that the enemy's flying troops did not evade such a dense array of shells. Boom, boom, boom. As a result, nearly half of the artillery shells can hit straight, exploding bunches of gunpowder in the air. This scene made everyone in a Wagakure puzzled. It doesn't matter if you don't hide, and there is still such a dense gathering. Do you look down on the cannonballs? However, after a few breaths, they were dumbfounded, and the other party really looked down on the cannonball attack. After the roar of the artillery shells, more than 100 pale golden round protective shields lit up in the night sky, and the enemy flying troops continued to fly towards Tsuchikage and others. Shoo-hoo! Boom bang bang! In an instant, a golden rain of energy spread all over the air, densely rushing to the dozen or so flying ninjas, including Inoki. At this moment, behind the hundreds of flying puppets, Otsutsuki let out a sigh of relief. The boy had a guilty conscience when he came on an adventurous journey. It was only the first time he attacked the forces of the ninja world. Of course, the most important thing is that a Wagakure does not have any powerful forces such as the three Holy Lands. Lava-style, granite. Facing such an attack, Lao Zi had to continue to bite the bullet. Boom rumble, when countless energy bombs bombarded Lao Zi's large area of granite rock shinobi, he did not continue to maintain it. Even the energy bombs of a dozen or so enemy forces could not be guarded against, not to mention hundreds of enemy forces, and several of them were not instant small golden energy bombs, but giant energy bombs the size of a bucket. With the help of granite to defend the first wave of impact, Lava directly used the lava-style chakra mode to turn on the tail beastization. His whole body was instantly covered with a red tyrannical chakra coat, and 4 red tails were formed. Squeak! The beast, like Old Purple, raised his head and gathered a large amount of chakra in his mouth, and a dark blue energy bomb, tailed beast bomb, took shape. Boom! When his previous defensive ninjutsu granite was about to collapse, tailed beast bomb also erupted. Boom! Facing hundreds of enemy troops within a few hundred meters ahead, Lao Zi directly chose to explode with his face. The golden red blasting light wave swelled up to 100 meters in an instant, and the violent light shone on the sky and the earth, surpassing the blazing sun in the day. A strong shock wave followed. Relying on Inoki's resistance, the rock shinobi in the air were not washed away. Then, whether it was Inoki and the others, or the hundreds of Umbu on the ground, they all looked into the air expectantly. I saw that after Lao Zi's tail beast bomb exploded, countless pieces of sawdust scattered around from the air, and many people looked dumbfounded. Are they all puppets? No wonder. Onogi murmured. As soon as more than 100 enemy troops appeared suddenly, Oyemu began to doubt. As Tsunade's old opponent, he immediately thought of Tsunade's puppet technique. I thought that the enemy forces were all Byakugan ninjas, and it seemed impossible to grab some Byakugan back to Rock Shinobi Village. However, Oyemu did not relax because of this, because after the violent explosion 1,000 meters away, there was still a person with golden light all over alive. And at this moment, the Sharon, although his eyes were still closed, his expression was extremely shocked. The violent explosion just wiped out his hundreds of puppet army in an instant. Only he relied on his powerful physique to defend himself and was repelled by the explosive shock wave, and then quickly exploded the giant Tensigan's chakra stored in his body. Between the electric light and flint, he immediately thought of the education in the family since he was a child, and in his description of the ninja world, he mentioned the attack methods of the tail beasts. Unexpectedly, the strange person just now could attack the tail beast. There was no one around, and she felt very insecure, so he immediately summoned the seal scroll and released a dense army of puppets. Just when Sharon was about to instruct an army of more than 300 puppets to disperse and destroy the enemies scattered on the ground below, a dozen rock shinobi flying in front of him actually flew towards him quickly. Of course, Oyemu was also dumbfounded. He thought that Lao Zi shot a tailed beast bomb and almost ran out of the other party's possessions. The head of the enemy who was gleaming in gold. He was done in the past. How come there are 300 more in an instant? At this time, I feel a dilemma. Neither is going up, nor is it going back. Shoo-hoo. However, he hadn't made a choice yet, and the opponent gave him a choice, and a more intensive energy bomb hit. Seeing Lao Zi gritted his teeth and was about to go, Oyemu pulled him back. Dust escape, primary realm stripping technique. I saw Oyemu shook his hands and spread them out. A white energy light wave condensed in his hands, and the cone-shaped energy wave instantly rushed forward. The energy light wave of the dust swells a beam of energy a few meters in diameter and strikes the Otsutsuki Sharon hundreds of meters away like lightning. The golden energy bombs and countless puppets encountered on the way were instantly annihilated by the dust and turned into powder. In the face of such a powerful attack, the Sharon, surrounded by a giant Tensigen chakra, gracefully stretched out his right hand. Boo! I saw the white energy light waves with super destructive power, and after touching Sharon, they all disappeared. A dozen rock shinobi who flew in were frightened, and Master Tsuchikige's super powerful bloodline eliminated the dusty attack. That was the ability to destroy the world, so it was resolved by the opponent? And besides him, the other rock shinobi's agility in the air is too poor, and they will be defeated in a long battle. The super attack came too fast just now. He actually didn't have time to react and avoid it, and bit the bullet and used the absorptive power of the giant Tensigen chakra, and forced the grid to float in the air with a shining golden home. At this moment, in fact, his heart is panicked. Be absorbed, Lao Zi whispered in amazement. Looking at the enemy who was being attacked by countless puppets, Otsutsuki took a breath, and the absorbed energy mixed with his chakra, immediately condensing a huge golden energy ball. Shoo-hoo! The opponent not only has countless flexible and powerful puppets, but also such a strong strength. Oyemu persuaded. I have been distracted to pay attention to Anoki and others here, and naturally avoided it. Boom! A distinguished guest from the moon. I'm Anoki, the leader of a Wagakure. We don't intend to offend you who are descended from the immortals of Hamura. Can you talk about it? Even Lao Zi and his own attacks are helpless against each other, so a Wagakure will naturally find it difficult to host such a weak person. Oyemu changed his attitude, and immediately shouted to the gleaming Sharon in the distance. Passing Ohayemu and others, a huge golden energy bomb blasted on the high mountain. An attack not weaker than the old purple-tailed beast bomb directly raised the high mountain to the ground. Boom! This powerful attack stunned everyone, and several distracted elite ninjas were shot down by the dense puppets. Several people did not dare to move forward, and they faced a large number of puppet attacks. They began to dodge defenses while counterattacking. Chapter 169. Although Oyemu wants to destroy the enemy and establish his might, he can even use the tail beast Jinchuriki and his dust to intimidate the enemy. But I didn't expect the enemy to be too strong. Whhhhhhh. As Oyemu finished speaking, a large number of puppets flying all over the sky stopped their attacks. Anoki breathed a sigh of relief. He was a little emboldened. Judging from the information analyzed today, although these lunar ninjas are extremely malicious towards the ninja world, compared to the Otsutsuki style of the Shell organization and the ghetto statue suppressed by their lunar ninja, wanting to come to a Wagakure is not their primary goal. In this case, there is room for maneuver. As for the puppets that surrounded them densely, although Oyemu was ineffective against the enemy's attack, his dust still ignored these puppets. And the reason Sharon stopped, besides these people just showed the same powerful strength. When they saw the other party clarify his identity and asked for a conversation, Sharon also stopped to see what the other party had. At this time, under the cover of the densely packed puppets, there was another puppet similar to him beside Sharon, who opened his sapphire eyes in vain, and then took the flying puppet to fly towards Anoki and the others. A Wagakure was not dangerous in the future, but now that he didn't have this idea, he naturally didn't dare to take risks with his real body anymore. Moreover, he has a secret technique, and he can descend on the puppet with his thoughts, which is equivalent to his going. Although Inoki's perception was not as good as his teacher Second Tsuchiki's, he could also detect the opponent's movements and sight again in his heart. I didn't expect the opponent to be so cautious. Such an enemy would be the most difficult to deal with. People of Ninja World, why do you want to invade the moon? Sharon's mind manipulated a puppet like him to fly and immediately questioned arrogantly. Misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. Inoki stopped the other ninjas and immediately explained. Although he is also one of the most powerful figures in the ninja world, compared to other people, Inogi is the one who can afford to let go. Compared with purpose and interests, he doesn't value his own honor very much, and Inogi doesn't care about his arrogant Homer. I am sorry for strayed into your secret realm, but even if we Awagakure did not meet, there will be other forces sooner or later, because the situation in the ninja world has changed drastically, and many forces are exploring the ruins everywhere in the ninja world. The old fox Inoki said with a sigh, very melancholy. Why? Nothing to say. The young Sharon was naturally caught up. Oh, these years Rinnegan has been present, which has disturbed the world of endurance, and the recent appearance of the Otsutsuki-like shell tissue, which has been said to have lived for thousands of years, has made the world of endurance uneasy. So many forces began to explore the world of ninja, first to find the dangerous Shao organization and shell organization, and second, to find some ancient relics and gain the power of ancient civilization. Inoki said while observing Sharon's expression in secret. Although this is a puppet, and Sharon is also born with facial paralysis, but after all, it is the mind coming. The puppet's navy blue eyes, melancholy and solemnity still have not escaped the observation of the old fox Inoki. Tell the information you know about Rinnegan and Otsutsuki, and I'm considering forgiving you for your rude crimes. Sharon still said arrogantly. Ahem, this is a long story. Back then, the new actor Oyemu, in front of a homeless man who has no social experience in scheming, began to talk about the old man. Although he was delayed and his words were mixed and unsatisfactory, Sharon unexpectedly listened carefully, which surprised Oyemu. Through the lengthy conversations, she has a clearer understanding of the current situation in the ninja world. But the silly boy hasn't woken up yet. Although there is a lot of listening here, the general meaning is actually similar to the information he got when he controlled those rock shinobi with the mental ball. From the descendants of the venerable Yumura immortals from the moon, now the ninja Akatsuki organization wants to resurrect the extinct Ten Tails, and the Otsutsuki style is about to return to the world. It was the immortals of Himura who saved the world back then. Hope you will help now and help eliminate the Akatsuki and the shells. Inoki asked sincerely. Ghetto statue is a monster suppressed by our clan. I will take it back. I will also destroy anyone who wants to resurrect Ten Tails through Rinnegan. There are also shell tissues. Do you know where they are? Tell me. The upright boy said arrogantly. Hearing this old man's lengthy conversation, it seems that Rinnegan is not very strong. The current owner of Rinnegan was attacked by a group of time and space Mangekyo ninjas and lost his eyes. And now in the hands of a group of weaker people, plus Otsutsuki, who has been hiding without regaining his strength, Shuren hopes to get their information and wipe out Ten Tails and Otsutsuki, who can threaten him to complete his mission in the bud. I'm very sorry to the distinguished guests. At the moment, the ninja world does not have their exact information. Everyone will conduct a large number of inspections everywhere. That's why we strayed into your secret realm. However, if the guest is willing to wait, we can find the traces of one of the Mangekyo forces of time and space, and then find a way to capture his time and space Mangekyo. Because of this, I can deal with the Uchiha letter who has now received Rinnegan, because he is also a person with space-time pupil skills. Finally, under the allure of Inoki's flattery and interest, Sharon agreed to cooperate with Inoki. Even the mind-controlled puppet, at the invitation of Inoki, lived in Awagakure. As for the body of Sharon, he hurried back to the moon and prepared more puppets and weapons. It seemed that the ninja world was really dangerous. Awagakure, who was out of rank, almost fell, not to mention other stronger forces. Especially the time and space Mangekyo Sharingan, where he was helpless, benefited a lot after Onogi gave him some information. Now that he knows nothing about shinobi, and he is frustrated by Iwagakure, the kindness that Onoki conveyed, Sharon temporarily accepted it because he needed the information from Onoki. As for Nio Nogi, he temporarily relieved Lunar Ninja's hostility, and at the same time, he was considering how to use this powerful ally. These puppets of Otsutsuki Sharon are very strong, not much better than Shinong's Air Force. The current Air Force in the ninja world does not seem to have taken shape. Airships are not enough, and it seems that the helicopters being studied by the Transport Alliance have not been successful. Therefore, the puppet troops of Sharon are not only strong, but also have a very big advantage. Regardless of how Onoki has been vigorously targeting Konoha secretly, in fact, Akatsuki's organization of the Remnant Party and the newly emerging Shell organization are what he thinks is the most dangerous. Now it is possible to use this newly emerged moon forbearance to test the Shao organization Remnant Party and the Shell organization. I was really fooled by Onoki. Chiyu, who had spied all of this in secret, murmured, then put down the telescope in his hand and disappeared with Flying Thunder God. Sharon's tactics are really bad, and he clearly has the strength to crush, but his uprightness is amazing. If some tactical master manipulates a puppet like 100, the Wagakure will suffer a lot. With a small amount of force to contain the few masters of Onoki, you can make other puppets unscrupulously destroy a Wagakure. These puppets must attack and attack, defend and defend, be able to fly, and not fear death. Moreover, Sharon is not weaker than Onoki, or even much stronger, but it is a pity that he has no actual combat experience. But no matter what, Sharon has begun to merge into the ninja world. I hope that Ono Kudo will find something for him next, so that Chiyu and Tsunade will not continue to bother to guide him. Chapter 170. Old man, I heard that you lost the fight. When Oyemu finished his affairs, and finally heaved a sigh of relief, a gentle little yellow-haired boy with a single ponytail came over and immediately mocked Oyemu. Onoki squinted at Deidara and sighed inwardly. This kid is not a martial artist. Look at the moon boy, he is much better than him. Of course, Anakibi's object is too realistic. Now Deidara, excluding Onoki and the two Jinchuriki, has the strongest destructive power of a Wagakure. As for Deidara, he just came late with 5 Tails Jinchuriki and didn't participate in the air battle. It's a pity. In terms of who is the strongest in air combat, Deidara dare not fight against Teacher Onogi, but she considers herself the most beautiful boy in air combat in Ninja World. Most of Shinong's air combat was destroyed by him. Regarding the Umbu's description of lunar forbearance, although Deidara was surprised that the other party could absorb the dust of the old man, Deidara expressed disdain for those flying puppets. Father, Laozi and Han have all relayed 4 Tails, 5 Tails worries. After all, Moon Ninja is a person who has the destructive intention of the ninja world. If we cooperate with them, don't we cooperate with the tiger for skin?